Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening.
I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph, we're back.
Yeah, it's been like a couple weeks.
It's only been like
10 days or so. Yeah.
we did one like, I don't know. It was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was like a Monday or Tuesday.
2 weeks ago. Less than 2 weeks ago. For others, it probably felt like an eternity.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Where are my goat boys? Where are the goats? Where's the YSGOATs?
Completely adrift without any source of news or hard-hitting analysis.
Actual goats were upset. Our core audience is goats.
Yeah. Yeah, actual literal goats.
They use our podcast to for the steeds. No, what do they call them? Studs.
I always assumed it was for like CIA training, like the men who stared at goats. Remember that movie?
Yeah, I didn't really watch it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's something to do with like MK Ultra or something.
You think that they use our podcast as a?
Could be, yeah.
Possibly. Say, right? I feel like it, so therefore it's true.
Yeah. That's the standard
like
these
days.
True. It's true.
Feels like it's true. You know,
Truish.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff has happened.
Yes.
I was away. You were away also, actually.
Yeah, actually,
I was away longer.
Yep, so on opposite sides of the country. I was pretty far west in Arizona, and you were as far east as you can go in.
I didn't go to Maine.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Maine is pretty east.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, I think Maine wins the East Coast Challenge of.
Yeah, didn't get up to Kennebunkport.
No. I didn't go up to Montauk Sound either. I think that's I don't know if that's the end of Long Island. I stayed down in Nassau County. I didn't really. Might have touched down in Suffolk County for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about our personal lives.
No.
You guys don't even know anything about me. I don't want you to know shit. I prefer to live under the was it ambiguity or what's the word?
Yeah, anonymity.
Anonymity. Yeah, anonymity. You never know. You don't know what I am. No idea. Yes, that too. Anonymity. Animal from the Muppets.
That's okay. I couldn't say aluminum till I was like 36. So I couldn't say. One day it just hit me. I was like, oh fuck, it's aluminum.
I know, funny thing is, if I didn't think about the word anonymity or whatever it is, I probably would just say it without an issue. But now that I'm thinking it, I'm never going to be able to say the word again. How do you say
it? Anonymity.
Don't get that you can't say it either.
Yeah, now it's in my head. I'm like, did I say that right?
Yeah, so Joseph, now that we're back, we're going to try to do this every week unless Joseph just decides not to do it these past couple of weeks.
No.
We went places. We were out of pocket.
Yeah, we've done that. Like I'd say over every summer, there's like a week or two where you or I are out of town, and that's just sort of been the normal course of action.
Yeah.
So usually I'm down in Florida.
Now we're back, Joseph.
Yeah.
What are we talking about this episode of the US? I can't even say
the US.
You still going on about that?
All right, so we're gonna start with some sad news. We're gonna talk about Sinead O'Connor, who passed today. We're going to talk about the Secret Invasion finale, the movie that's just doing box office bonanza numbers, Sound of Freedom.
Sound of Suckers?
Yeah. We're talking about the weather. It was specifically like when I was in Arizona, it was like unnaturally hot. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Well, Republicans say it's supposed to be hot in the summer, so this is fine. I'm not kidding. I actually saw them say that. It's I feel like those people should be shot off to the sun.
I'll tell you, Well, we'll talk about that when we talk.
Like if the Earth is a like a ship in the ocean, they need to be thrown off the plank.
It was, yeah. Well, they might welcome that, given that the sea is often cooler than the land.
Sure.
All right, so we're going to talk about the weather.
Except in Florida, where it reached 100 degrees, the water.
Crazy.
Yeah, let's save it. We'll save that for the global warming thing.
All right, we're going to talk about Ron DeSantis and his reforms to the Florida education system, which have been really awful,
evil, and disgusting.
Yeah, I mean they're just they're next level bad. We're talking about Ron DeSantis tanking in the polls.
Yeah.
We're talking about Tommy Tuberville,
Tommy Potato Head,
defending white nationalism. That's kind of sandwiched between the DeSantis things.
It's all same crowd of people. So
we're going to talk about this insane new Trump ad, which was really
just
bananas.
Stupid. It's just dumb.
Then we'll talk about the GOP primary. A bunch of GOP,
very dumb.
Yep, the GOP electors from Michigan getting arrested or warrants out for their arrest.
Yeah.
The UFO hearings that were today,
probably really stupid.
I listened to a lot of them.
Conducted by incredibly dumb people.
I'm anxious to talk about that. We're talking about Joe Biden's dog just like going ham on a bunch of people.
Good. He probably thought they were hams.
He basically adopted Stitch. Isn't
the dog like a fucking German Shepherd?
Yeah, it's a beautiful dog.
Isn't that what they're bred to do?
Well, a lot of people are theorizing that it like bites people that it sees as a threat, and a lot of those.
Well, there are some fucking people in the Secret Service that are still aligned with Trump. So one bit.
Right, he just may be a really effective.
He's
dog,
he has a podcast. He follows. He understands. He can spot white nationalist symbols and all kinds of shit.
You gotta follow. He's a dog cast. He's like
dog cast. He's a dog.
We're talking about and then we'll finish by talking about X, which is the new Twitter. It's what Elon Musk is.
When Twitter fails, he can go. Well, X fails, he could go. Well, that was X. Twitter's still good.
That's something. So anyway, that's the lineup of what we're talking about. And I guess we'll start with Sinead.
It's also exhausting.
That guy's exhausting.
Sucks.
He must exhaust himself with the excitement he has with every new idea that stumbles into his head. He must think like
new ideas. The X thing goes back to like PayPal. You know what it reminds me of? I just want to get it out of the way before I forget.
Is it the driving crooner? Because that's exactly what this
the driving crooner from the called so I think you should leave.
Yeah, I think that
I thought it didn't drive crooner. It has to do with the fact that like recycle. Now Elon Musk is just recycling. Like he wanted to call like PayPal X or something like that. Makes me think of like George Lucas, and when I read the Dark Horse put out a comic series that was basically like what his original script for Star Wars was.
Oh, okay.
And I remember reading the comics and cracking up because half the shit in it he recycled and put in episode 1.
Oh, geez.
Because his ideas were just so good that he shoved the shitty ideas that were cut out of the first Star Wars movie and shoved them into episode 1. And that's what I think of when I hear the X thing. I like thinking like, oh, this is this genius idea I had.
Oh, you know that they are. They're just sitting there saying like, there's got to be a way to make money off of this. It's just
it's like the guy with that story from Kevin Smith, the hotel. It gets repeated all the time about like how the guy wanted a spider in a Superman movie, and then you find out this producer wanted to try to shove in this giant spider into tons of movies. It was this cracked out movie producer who just he had like a dumb idea. He couldn't let it go. He finally shoved it in like the Wild Wild West movie. There was like a
that's funny.
Movie Tank too. But it's just funny how these dickwads with like tons of money.
Yeah.
With one fucking dumb idea, and they think it's so genius It's not, dude. I come up with ideas every day and they get left. You know what happens to most of them? They don't go anywhere. And
Yeah, right.
I try to recycle them and I'm trying to do this. This guy, it's like, this, oh, it's so genius. I wanted to call it X. Like, why would you buy? I know we're not there yet, but
Yeah.
why would you spend $44 billion on an app and then change the entire branding? It makes no
It's so
sense.
stupid. It's
The
like
only thing I could think of, and this is like the same thing with Max, HBO Max too. The same, you're like, why would you remove HBO? That is literally the most still to this day one of the most prestigious names when it came to cable TV, came to branding.
Yep, everybody's familiar with it.
Yeah, like it still to this day is the number one cable channel. It just is. It will always be. And the reason you find out, the real reason why it was changed to Max, the real reason it's changed to X, is so they can get out of paying debts and paying contracts, and paying residuals. Well, this isn't HBO Max. This is Max. Oh, this isn't Twitter. This is X. We're a different company. We have a different structure. We have a different. We don't have to honor our previous deals. You know, he probably changed it to X so he could fire that crippled guy that he fought with on Twitter.
Right.
Found out like he can't. I bet you he's like, can I fire him now? Can I get rid of him now because we're X?
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous to buy Twitter, which had problems, but essentially was working really well and doing what it was supposed to do.
It's a name. It's like,
yeah, but it'd be like buying like a Warhol and just putting googly eyes on it or something. You know, like
yeah.
Like, why would you you got the Warhol, just keep it. That's a good piece
of
art.
Putting a mustache on it.
Right. Yeah. No.
Well, anyway, I mean, you know, I guess you could say Facebook did Meta, but I feel like they changed the name of the corporation that owns all the apps into Meta.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still
and
Facebook,
they still call Facebook.
It's still Instagram. It's still Threads. They didn't change the name of those apps.
Yeah, Alphabet still calls Google. You know, I mean, like, you'd never know anything was different.
Who?
Google used to be called Google, and that for years it's been called Alphabet.
Really?
The company that owns Google.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. It's still call it Google.
No. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's funny. Every time I see tweets, when I go on Twitter, it still has the bird and everything, but when you forward me tweets, I see the stupid X logo and it's black.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like a tweet anymore.
Yeah, I think Elon doesn't want them called tweets either. I think he wants them called like skeets or something.
Yeah, whatever. All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so Sinead O'Connor died. I ain't gonna lie, I don't really know anything about her music. I don't know, like, I just know her as the girl who shaved her head and was Irish, and then she was really famous, and then she went on SNL, said something about the Pope. I don't remember what it was exactly. And
she said, "Fight the real enemy."
Yeah, and then she ripped up the paper, and I wonder, like, maybe if she explained herself more, like maybe that would have helped. But like, I heard that was pre. Well, she passed away. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but I think she was like 56.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wonder what she.
I know, right?
You know, well, I mean, we're not. Well, you're close to her age.
Oh, yeah.
But still, it's like, ooh, it's not that old, you know. I mean, Tony Bennett died. I think he was like 1,000.
Yeah, right. Tony Bennett lived like 3 of her lives.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, sort of, not really, but yeah, he was a vampire. He lived to 160, you know. But I get. Was the reason why she did it didn't have to do with all the molestation stuff with the church?
Yeah, she
that did, or I didn't know back then what it was, and it was, and around that time, the stuff you didn't really see the stuff yet. I feel like that was the mid to late 90s when you started to see all the allegations come out and all you find out about the priests that were like recirculated and how they molested like all these boys and shit. And
yeah, I saw her, like, her first album, The Lion and the Cobra, came out in 1987, and I remember
Lion and the Coconut.
the Lion and the Cobra. I still remember seeing the video for Mandinka the very first time, and it was like unlike anything I'd ever seen. She was beautiful, but like bald, and it was like the video was great, and her voice was really, really just different, otherworldly. And anyway, like I immediately loved that out. I bought the record, I listened to all the songs, I loved it. And then she came out with her second one, which was that really big hit, the one with the Prince cover on it.
Okay.
And anyway, she went on SNL and she did like one song. I forget the first song she did, but the second song she did, she sang War by Bob Marley, but she did like an a cappella version of it. And then at the end, she whipped out a picture of the Pope and ripped it in half and said, "Fight the real enemy." And then she got like banned from Saturday Night Live, and there's a big backlash against her.
I mean, her career ended that day. I mean, you did not see her on anything ever again. Like
she did one thing after that, and it was like a benefit concert, and she performed, and she got booed mercilessly.
When was that?
I don't know, but it was shortly after that. And Chris Christopherson, who was kind of like the host of the benefit, there's a famous photograph of him coming out and like standing with her with his arm around her, and then he talked to the audience about like being dicks, and then he wrote a song about her like years later called Sister Sinead. I'm not a huge Chris Christopherson music fan, but it was a real cool song. And
I'm more of a Chris Christopherson. What's that movie called? Time Trap or whatever. It's Time Something. That's an awesome movie.
Yeah, that was great.
The end of the world, like the future's collapsing, and they're like,
was that Time Cop?
No.
No, it wasn't Time. Yeah.
And I always think of like it showed in the. Let me see if I can find this.
Yeah, it was based off a book called Millennium by Ben Bova, I think. And I read the book and then saw
it might have been Millennium.
Was it? It could have been. The name of the book was Millennium. But it was about
Millennium.
time.
It is. It's a great movie. It's basically about how people in the future come back in the past, and like what they do is like if a plane's gonna crash and they know that all these people are gonna die, they take these people into the future so that because they can't they can't populate anymore, and they can't. But then like it's interesting because you see like the council, all the people who like run the world or whatever it is at this point. They're all these like fossils that are being held together by machines, like their faces are stretched out. It's like, how are these fucking things still alive? And every time I see like one of these old fucks like in the Senate, like what's her name? That lady that they had to cart out not too long ago, Feinstein or McConnell or even Pelosi, these like old people tied to old corporate power. And the old corporate powers never going to let these people retire because the new generation will come in and not like. And like, did you see what? Speaking of that, like McConnell like spoke to them, and he literally like, I don't know if he had a stroke. They had to like cart him off or something.
They said he had a transient something attack. Well, basically a mini stroke. I assumed, like I think most people did, that he saw the angel of death. I just thought maybe he saw like one of those little salads that you see in a turtle, like when you see like you go to a pet store and you see like a turtle and they might put like a little clump of salad, like a mixture of lettuce and carrots and stuff, and the turtle will go to it. And I just thought maybe Mitch McConnell saw that and just got excited and froze. Like he's like, we want salad clump. I'm turtle. But no, I think the Millennium. Anytime like I see these old fucks that like keep getting reelected, they're like 1,000 years old, and the reason why they keep getting reelected is because again they're just like bought and sold by these old corporate ties and never gonna as long as they can give a pulse of any kind, they'll remain in the Senate. These old powers that be will never let them resign. No.
But back to Sinead O'Connor. Chris Christopherson's cool. There was a story I read about him like telling off Toby Keith at some event or whatever.
It was like at Willie Nelson's birthday party.
Yeah. Well, Toby Keith put out that dumbass song like "Put a Boot Up Your Ass," whatever. Pro-Iraq war.
Dude loves ass.
And Chris Christopherson, I guess, actually served versus Toby Keith, who didn't serve shit.
I guess Chris Christopherson was like an Army Ranger, so he was like a special forces guy.
He said like you have no right to say anything and whatever. I mean, I don't know the exact quote, but it was cool. And he's like super progressive.
Yeah.
And probably knew what was up. I think, yeah, you know, you look back at the time when I was a kid and I saw the Sinead O'Connor thing on stage, I thought it was just kind of dumb. I was like, okay, I don't get it. I don't know much about the Pope. I have no idea. I mean, it wasn't apparent yet about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's people who knew. There was probably people that knew, but it was not getting reported on.
Yeah, I heard because I was in the same boat. I saw it and I don't clearly remember what I felt, but I think I felt something like, oh, that's real punk rock, or like something like, like just rebelling to rebel. But
just felt weird and came out of nowhere. It was random.
When she was a kid, she got sent to something called, I want to say it's like a Magdalene Laundry or something. And it was basically an institution in Irish Catholicism where kids got sent away. And I guess a lot of abuse happened. I don't know if she was abused personally, but I think it was an unspoken truism amongst adults at the time that there was probably a lot of like child fucking that went on in the Catholic Church. For lack of a better a more genteel phrase.
That's what they were doing, and I don't know if they still do it, but there's definitely still problems. Yeah, that's why any of these assholes that claim they're, we're gonna go after the groomers, we're gonna go after them. Okay, does that involve the Catholic Church of any kind? What? No.
It does.
No, we just like harassing gay people.
Right. Well, anyway, after that, you're right. Her career,
she to me is the only person that was at her level that I feel like was ever actually really canceled. Like, I mean, the funny thing about SNL, there's a guy named like Charlie Rocket or something, who he was like a star on the rise, or it was like, he had like a weird name, and he was like on SNL, and I guess he accidentally dropped an F-bomb and he was fired and his career was destroyed. He never recovered. He never went anywhere. It like killed whatever.
That sucks.
And that was like the early 80s or whatever. That he basically became the guy who accidentally dropped an F-bomb, which is funny because so many people probably dropped F-bombs, and he's probably like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Like, what? I lost my fucking career, and these motherfuckers are cursing all the time or dropping or giggling, breaking, like Jimmy Fallon would do all the fucking time,
Yeah. I would say Sinead O'Connor was the only one who really got canceled and never got a second chance. I'd say at the time, Pee Wee Herman got canceled for that thing in Sarasota. But he got a second chance. And now
like here's the funny thing about Pee Wee Herman. Here's the funny thing about Pee Wee Herman. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
Because he was already canceled. People didn't realize this when Pee Wee Herman got caught wanking at the playhouse, Pee Wee's Playhouse. He brought the chair too that he sat on. That thing.
Cherry.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. He had, everyone was like, well, he looks like shit. He had long hair, he looked weird. And the show hasn't stopped filming like 3 years before that. There weren't any new episodes. Just like, kids don't know, they're fucking dumb. They put on Pee Wee's Playhouse. It's on syndication. There's no internet back then to tell you, like, you're watching fucking repeats. They probably just thought they were new. So parents were like, what? It was probably the best thing that happened to him, because he ended up becoming like kind of relevant. Like, he got not too long after, he got invited to be on like MTV Movie Awards or Music Awards. He funny jokes, like, and he was in the Pee Wee outfit. He had a small part in Batman Returns.
Yep.
He was in the Vampire Slayer movie. He ended up showing up. He was in that superhero movie with Janine Garofalo and Ben Stiller. It was like a comedy. It came out like in the late 90s. He was in that too.
Mel Gibson cast him as Jesus in The Passion of Christ, I think.
He was in The Passion of the Christ. I thought that was strange, but Mel Gibson is a little weird. No. But it ended up probably being great for his career. It kept him relevant. But with her, it was it. It was done. She was like all this bullshit you hear, like Roseanne Barr was canceled because she said that racist thing. It's like she got fired from a show. But look at her. She got a special on Fox. She's constantly touring. She's constantly going on right-wing podcasts and different podcasts that will have her on and going on the news. She hasn't shut the fuck up. Or they say Dave Chappelle. I love when people say Dave Chappelle is canceled. I'm like, where?
Unreal.
When was Dave Chappelle canceled? Where? I want to give me an example. Did he lose? What gig did he lose? He was invited since he started attacking trans people 5 years ago or 6 years ago. He's been invited on SNL like 3 times.
Yeah.
When he goes on SNL, it's an event. It's not even just like he's a normal guest. He takes over the entire production. He constantly has Netflix specials. He's invited to things. Comedians still respect him. He gets, you know what I mean? Like, where was he canceled? What does that mean exactly? What does that word mean? The cancel is such bullshit. Like, it's just a buzzword they use to like sell books or sell tickets or whatever. But if there's an example of someone getting actually canceled, it's Sinead O'Connor. I don't know. Maybe you might know some other celebrities. Like, look at fucking Kanye West. He went on a month-long tour saying the most vile anti-Semitic shit that I've never heard come out of anyone before. I've never heard anyone say the shit that a mainstream celebrity like him said. I never, the Mel Gibson thing came out when he was drunk and he got caught, and he made a movie that was incredibly anti-Semitic, but he never actually went out and like went on tour and said like, I like Hitler, like.
But you're right.
And he could come back. He'll just show up on something one day and you'll be like, what?
Yeah, you can't really think of any artist that literally did get canceled other than her like in recent memory. I know that in the 1950s.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I mean,
in our modern day,
But I mean, there's people who can't. There's other things with like human rights and the civil rights movement. I'm talking post civil rights, post 80s, where a celebrity, a politician, or whatever gets well. The joke is there have been some politicians who got canceled, and that one guy who said macaca once. I'd never seen that again. And now it's like they say all kinds of crazy shit and they flourish. But
George Allen, I think it was, or something from
that dope. He literally got him. Maybe that's like one of the only ones I could think of. And that's
funny.
I want to go back to that world where these motherfuckers face, like, they say a weird colloquial racist term that no one ever heard of except for like historians and people live in a certain region. I want to see those fuckers. I want to live in that time. But
even then,
8 years ago, 10 years ago,
he could have just come out like the next day and been like, "Wow, I heard some feedback on that, and I can't believe I said it." What a awful. I mean, like,
he did apologize, but whatever. That's what I'm talking about. Though. Like, imagine that. Like, now all these Republicans say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, Sinead O'Connor, like, she legit got canceled. Like, now I saw like people posting interviews. These are not right away. This is probably like many, many years later.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. So this could have been like 10 years ago. And that still would have been a long time after what? I mean, when did this happen? Like the early 90s?
Like 92 or something.
Yeah, that's over 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So she said something like, I still performed. I still did shows. The people who got canceled were like the record execs that couldn't afford to buy their new house in Antigua.
Yeah, she was always real different. Like I think of like some bands or artists like the Replacements kind of come to mind, where they almost self-sabotage. They were never going to be big. You know what I mean? Like they just, it wasn't part of what they were. And I think Sinead O'Connor was probably more comfortable being that sort of outsider artist, but I
don't know. She was freaking huge at that time.
Oh, that's
song, what I mean. Like, it's not when she did that and when she went on stage and did that. This was not like, oh, her career's waning and she's trying to get attention. I mean, as far as I know, I mean, she
was 26 and she was huge.
This was like, it'd be like if Taylor Swift got canceled right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Taylor Swift probably way bigger than Sinead O'Connor ever was, but
the point being, O'Connor was like,
this was not a career that was waning.
No,
it's like the joke is like Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California. Yeah, because his career as a box office movie star kind of was done.
Yeah.
That was his next thing he was gonna do. He's like, I'll just become governor of California because no one wants to see the last action hero.
Yeah, no, that is true.
The stupid dinosaurs are the reason why I think the governor.
I don't think they've announced
Jurassic Park.
I don't think they've announced a cause of death. Yeah, I know her
I think
son.
It was no, I was gonna make a joke about Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, Jesus. Her son took his own life like a year and a half
ago. He was only like 17, right? How long was that?
Yeah, like a year and a half ago.
Oh,
and they said she's never been kind of the same since, obviously. It wouldn't stun me if it were suicide or some, accidental.
You want to know what the fuck the most messed up thing I would have ever, and the only times I ever fucking see I don't follow music, so like I don't really know anything about her, like except for some of these mainstream events. The only time I'd ever see her pop up in anything kind of mainstream is when some shitty media outlet like TMZ or whatever finds a picture of her and they go, oh, look at her now. She's like chubby, and it's like, oh, you mean she's a middle-aged woman?
Yeah, she just looks like a pretty normal middle-aged
doesn't
woman.
have to appeal to a mass audience anymore because she was rejected.
I saw she though did kind of like, she had a lot of mental health problems. She disappeared for a little while, and she went like real hardline, like radical Islamic for a little bit. I don't know if she was still that way recently, but she was like,
I don't really know much about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I don't know. There's some. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I do know though that like sometimes when people have mental health problems, they turn to religion and pretty severe forms of religion. Like in the United States, we see a lot of like clinically, affected people like becoming radical Christians. Like, so it's, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, like, I think Ireland's probably a little more multicultural. She probably had more exposure to different types of religion.
I think she was probably dealing with, it's like, again, probably just dealing more in the fringes of things. And, she, like, it happened. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm just talking about this, like, one event that's like, unfortunately, that's going to be what she's going to be most famous for. But, years of hearing all these dinguses talk about cancel culture. And it's like, here's the actual example.
Yeah, true.
I mean, what did she speak out against? What was she canceled for? She got canceled because she brought up thing about the Pope. Now, I think if she was a little more articulate and explained things more, maybe. But it had to do with covering up all that stuff, right? With child molestation. I mean,
that was specifically it. No, that was specifically it. That was.
And I think so she was basically quieted and shut, and that's what's funny. We'll talk about this later, but like these like so-called Sound of Freedom, these QAnon losers and everything who claim they give a shit about kids, they would be the first ones to tell Sinead O'Connor to shut up.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do you see? I swore like this past couple of days, I saw multiple stories of all these like creeps who like are QAnon people, whatever, and they're all like fucking molesters and shit.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty steady drumbeat. Now I know people look for instances like that, but they don't got to look that hard. I mean,
I have to look at it when they're arrested and it's reported on. It's a headline.
Well, I guess this is kind of a good segue to the.
I want to add to the list before I forget. When we talk about, let's say the GOP primary around that point.
Yeah.
I want to add in Robert Kennedy Jr.
Oh yeah.
There was like a weird, like, he went to like Congress and spoke, and he lied and said he's not an anti-vaxxer and all this shit. I want to add that in there. If you want to put a note.
He just came off as. I'll keep a note there.
Thing about, I saw Dennis Kucinich was like working with them, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm not shocked by it.
I'm not either. Well, anyway, all right. So the other big story here before we get to Secret Invasion was that we're going to talk about Sound of Freedom after Secret Invasion, weren't we?
Maybe we can just talk about it now real quick. So Sound of Suckers. Now, I mean, I think it's like done now anyway. Barbie came out. Barbieheimer. Barbie Hyman. Is that what it's called?
No, absolutely not. It's
Barbie's Hyman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Oppenheimer. No, what?
Barbieheimer.
No, what's the movie called? Oppenheimer.
Barbie and Oppenheimer are the two.
Oppenheimer.
Movies.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt is the name of the movie that Christopher Nolan put out about a guy who made a bomb. And no, I don't know. I don't care. I kind of don't care for Christopher Nolan movies. I think they're the most overrated movies.
I think they're a little overrated.
I heard this one's good, but I also heard that, like, I don't know. Some people are like, well, I'd have to see it. I'm not going to make a judgment on it. I'll watch it when it's like on. I'll watch it when it hits like Max or something.
Yeah.
I'll see Barbie too. I think it'll come out on like Max or one of these two. I'm not.
Yeah. But my daughter wants to go see Barbie. So
yeah. But there was this huge hit movie called Sound of Freedom.
Yeah.
Massive hit. Beat out every movie in the world. It is. Everyone is. It's crazy though, because people go see it in theater. It says sold out, but the theaters are empty. And I guess because you find out it's like they offered this like pay it forward scheme where people can buy tickets. And it's genius. What a grift. These
it's a good one. The big thing is that Nextdoor.com, Facebook, a lot of these social media sites that are frequented by boomers and above are spreading this conspiracy theory that movie theaters are sabotaging the showing of the film.
Oh my god, there's so many TikTok videos of these fucking idiots who are like, I went there and the air conditioning didn't work. They didn't turn off the lights when the movie was on. And like the husband's like, that's right. The lights were on the entire time when the movie was on. But we watched it anyway. They tried to stop it. They tried to stop the movie.
It's like movie theaters, that's how they make money, right? Like they
no, not that they don't want the truth out.
Like, what the hell does AMC care? Like,
did you see that one?
These don't even make sense.
Yeah, I know. Did you see that? No, it's like someone who works there just forgot to hit the button. If you just went out, if one of you just went out and asked, they would have turned the lights off. I went to the theater one time, and I got up and said, "Hey, you turn the lights off?" And they went, "What?" Maybe
they didn't turn the lights off because they didn't see you there, and you were the only two in the theater. You know, I mean,
it was packed. There were like 12 of us. Yeah, it's funny. They think that's like a conspiracy. The funny thing about that movie though is supposedly it sat on the shelf for like 5 years.
Yeah, and I've heard that.
Decided, and then the guy that it's supposedly about has been like removed from whatever group he was part of anyway, because he's like a piece of shit con man.
Yeah, he's kind of distanced himself from some of these claims too.
Well, of course. But people are like, why is Mayor Savino in it? Probably because when the movie was first casted, she didn't realize it was going to be turned into like a weird right-wing Christian QAnon film.
That's from what I understand. And I haven't seen the movie and I haven't really read a ton about it.
People have to work.
But the little bit I've read about it says that, look, this is actually just an average movie. It's not terrible. It's not bad. It doesn't even have like a real sharp message. However, these QAnon nutcases have kind of turned it into a message.
Kim Caviezel is also a nut. He says all kinds of crazy shit.
He's super crazy. But like, essentially, this is basically like Taken, like the Liam Neeson vehicle.
That's what I heard a lot of people say. It's just basically like I saw this movie. It was called Taken.
Yeah, and so like Taken was like, it wasn't my kind of movie, but it was fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right? Did they make like 50 of them or something?
They did.
That's why they made a whole bunch of them.
I've always thought that was the flaw in that, because like Liam Neeson's a real badass, and then his kid got taken, but then like his kid got taken again, and then like the third time,
you're
like,
a shit dad,
fucking
dude.
Come on, like keep an eye on your kid.
Maybe a kid. You know what? The fourth one shouldn't have been like, you know what? You're old enough. Deal with it.
Right? Like, yeah. Look, teach a man not to get taken. Well, anyway.
That's a true right way. You teach a man to teach a person not to be taken. They
Yeah.
will be taken 1,000 times.
Save a person from a kidnapper, you save him once, but you teach him not to be taken, you save him forever.
Right.
So
Pull yourself up while you're taken.
anyway, I've heard that this movie, Sound of Freedom, is actually just like it's an okay movie. Like,
It's like it would probably be like a streaming movie on like Netflix.
I might even watch it, and I'm not even hearing that it's a terrible movie, but like they've kind of adopted it as like giving it a lot of subtext, like, oh, well, you see this movie, that clearly means that Joe Biden's running a sex ring out of a Pizza Hut.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Hunter Biden hates this movie because it's about him.
and now I don't want to see it because of that. Like, I probably would have seen it before.
I probably would have seen it by accident and just been, actually, I probably wouldn't have watched it. I don't give a fuck about those kind of movies. I would see the photo of it and I'd be like, I wouldn't even know what the movie was about. It would just look like a Taken ripoff or whatever. And I'd be like, I feel like I've seen this like 20 times. I don't care.
Well, it's the title too. They shoehorn freedom in
Was
there.
it called that originally?
I'm sure it wasn't. I'm sure it was called like Tooken or something.
Tooken.
Like the Takening.
Taken. I got all taken.
Yeah.
Oops,
It would
all
have been something
berries.
like that.
You ever see that cereal, Captain Crunch? Oops, all berries.
Yeah.
Oops, all taken.
So anyway, I don't know. These things.
I mean, it's just funny, like all these. Like, here's that one guy on Twitter who he photoshops, he puts his face in things. He's like pretends to be a right winger, like he has his son.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just like he's the one that like makes Kyle Rittenhouse all like fat,
right? Yeah, like a
porkier. I mean, sorry, he's already a little hefty, but like gives him like the rosy cheeks.
Yeah,
he wrote something about like he got in like some right winger. Laura Loomer got. Laura Loomer got into a fight with him on Twitter. He's like, I assure you, because he made fun of like, there was a picture of her with some. I posted that picture. There's a picture of her with some like MAGA kid wearing a MAGA hat, and he photoshopped it and put like the son's face on it, and she's like, "What are you, some kind of pervert or something?" And he's like, "I assure you that I am not. I saw the movie Sound of Freedom 12 times." And I posted that photo, and I said, I posted it twice. I said, Kyle Rittenhouse met the Babadook. And then I did another one with Laura Loomer and said, this, so sweet. What I said, this is sweet story. This child who was stricken with Kyle Rittenhouse syndrome,
right,
got to meet the painting from the It movie from 2017. That kid, he did. He looked like he came out of like Kyle Rittenhouse's ass. That kid.
It really did.
Yeah, but these people they're just not serious people.
Yeah,
that's cool. Like, you have to see this movie. This is the most important movie. I'm like, someone got paid to promote this crap.
I mean, like, no one's against human trafficking. I mean, no one's for human trafficking. I mean, it's like
except
such
for QAnon people.
It's a weird thing. Like, there's this group by where you used to live, where I still live. They picket in front of the Whole Foods like every weekend, anti-human trafficking. And
was that there before I left?
I think so. It's been there years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
I don't like. No one's pro human trafficking. I mean, like, and I also, I mean, like, I know it's a problem. I mean, and I'm hopeful that they're solving it, but like the way they make it out to be, it's like this organized effort by celebrities and politicians it's just so bizarre.
Evil Jews in Hollywood. It's all blood libel shit.
You're not helping.
Conspiracies.
They're not helping it's not to say that it isn't a real problem, but like, by distorting it,
their version is, it's probably not real.
Right. Yeah. And then they demand
anything, they do more harm because they are confusing people to actual real child abuse and real human sex trafficking.
So yeah, some of it's like crying wolf. like no one believes that Steven Spielberg purchases children from a Circle K. You know, I mean, like no one believes that. Like
except for Short Round.
True. Okay.
Time for love, Doctor. No time for love, Dr. Jones.
All right. So anyway, that's Sound of Freedom. All right, so we watched the Secret Invasion
Speaking
finale,
of Sound of Freedom,
right? Well, yeah.
we watched we were away, and I don't think we didn't get a chance to talk about episode 4 in the last episode. And episode 5 happened when I was gone.
Mhm.
I don't know if you were gone yet still, but and then this episode. So yeah, I mean, we'll just talk about the finale. Got an awesome CGI battle in the end between two super powered scrolls. That was pretty cool. Found it interesting though that like Gaia never took on her scroll form when okay. So this show, I'm gonna give it like a C+.
Okay.
I will probably never rewatch it ever again. I will watch the CGI fight though, because that was cool.
Yep.
It's like the recipe was all there. The villain was really good. I think he was like a great villain. The actor did a really good job. Garrick or whatever his name is. Gary?
Garrick, I think.
Gary. Yeah. The villain's name was Gary. He's like, hey, I'm Gary. It was Gary Shanley, actually.
His henchman, Wyatt.
Wyatt
and Gary.
What's that from?
Weird Sides.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy when what's his brother? His name?
Chet.
Chet showed up and he was that shit monster in the end. That was pretty sick. I was like, I didn't expect that, but this is not my favorite show ever. I had pacing problems. Like the show like would look good at some spots and like cheap as fuck in other spots. I've heard that this show cost $215 million.
Unreal.
Did they have to pay Samuel Jackson like $100 million?
It could have been.
Good for him if that's the case, but I'm sure he made a pretty penny. But I can't believe that show cost $215 million.
No,
I no fucking like. Where'd the money go? Because like so the show makes. This is where the show makes no sense. Scrolls want to like. They feel like there's a group of them that feel betrayed. They feel like they were led astray. That Nick Fury used them. I feel like Nick Fury never got a good chance to explain himself. Spoilers. He does explain himself kind of to
it's just
Garrett,
not him. Yeah.
But it's not him anyway, because it was fucking Gaia.
That is a good point, because like the thing driving the narrative here is that Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury promised something that he didn't deliver or couldn't deliver, but he also got like zapped out of existence for 5 years.
During the trauma, so he couldn't deal with it for a couple of years as well.
And he came back and he was like real traumatized because of it, and also like everything had changed. Like a lot had changed. So
go ahead. What?
No, I was just gonna say they never really like ran with that. Like this was in a lot of ways it was a tragedy of like what happened to Nick Fury.
Like they should have had a scene when he came back. Remember that one of the best scenes in WandaVision, and they even showed it in the Hawkeye series. Yelena Belova also was dusted.
Yep.
And she came back. They showed her come back, and she's talking to like it's a great scene. She's talking to like one of the former Black Widows, and like it's 5 years later, and that Black Widow's now like, I don't know, has a husband and kids, and she's just like acclimated to normal everyday living. And she's like, just woke up she looked in the mirror, got dusted it, and then woke up again, and she was 5 years later.
Yeah.
But one of the best scenes is in WandaVision when Monica Rambeau is at the hospital with her mom who's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
She gets dusted, and then they show her reform. It's a sick scene. They show her like her everything just redust or undust or whatever.
I remember that. Yeah.
And I feel like this show, that's why I feel like the show is cheap, because they just have some dialogue to talk about things. But I feel like they could have had a great scene where it would show Samuel Jackson coming back and just being like in the middle, because he got dusted, so he'd probably return exact spot, which is the city. I remember that was great in Endgame when the Hulk's like trying to explain, like, if you bring people back, like they might like fall in the ocean. Like,
Yeah.
the world's not in the same position it was 5 years later. You can't just say everybody's back and then they show up and like he had to like be, I don't know, you had to like make the proper wish with the monkey paw or the
Right. Yeah.
the Infinity Gauntlet. And I think that would have been like a great scene. The show should have began with it saying like 2023 New York City or whatever, and him coming back.
Reforming. Yeah. That would
Reforming.
actually have been really cool.
And there's so many missed opportunities. I feel like there's some cool scenes with him in the past, like the stuff with his wife. But like, I just feel like, okay, if the budget was that high, they could have done so many more things.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have had like a scene in the past of how Nick Fury used the scrolls. Like, do a mission, show a mission. Could it take place in like some point in like after 2012? They kind of explained, they show a scene in 2012, but they should have did would have been an awesome scene in like 2012 after like the attack in the first Avengers movie, how he used the scrolls to like,
it was like, as a commando unit or something.
Yeah, like, and that would have been, it could have been like 5 minutes long, and it would have explained a lot. And maybe you'd show like,
they could have even like
some scrolls, just, you could have like a line of dialogue with a scroll being like, that Fury just uses us for everything. And then like Talos is like quiet or something, like, like,
they could have been. I mean, there's a lot of missed opportunity there.
There's like, because again, this show was that fucking expensive, and they should have been able to do that shit. I don't get it. I don't know. The roadie thing was like, okay.
It was good.
Okay. I like the ending. I like him going off to space with his wife, and his wife looks like a scroll. I think that like gets the point across of the show. But I feel like the show misses the point. Okay, so if the scrolls want to be in their own flesh, they want their own world. They want to be accepted for they are. They don't want to be constantly in disguise. But 90% of the show is mostly scrolls in human form.
Yeah.
Always. Even like in this, like when you go to like the scenes in Russia in the wasteland,
right, when they don't have to be hiding.
None of them should be human at that point. Why would they be human? Like in the end, in the 5th episode, when they start rebelling against Gravik, they're all human. I'm like, it makes no sense. I mean, that's why the show to me is cheap. Because it's like they didn't want to have like 30 people with scroll makeup or something.
They didn't want to buy a bunch of costumes or whatever.
Yeah, they didn't want. I mean, fuck, make it look like Planet of the Apes in those old movies where it's just like unmovable faces and shit. I don't know. Get one of your CGI artists to like just plop fucking scroll faces on top of their heads for like a scene.
Right.
I mean, like, I'm not trying to exploit CGI. I'm just
no.
That's why the show felt cheap to me.
Yeah.
And it made no sense. Why would, if they're so obsessed with being in their own skin, then when they are with each other, when they're in, whether it's like a safe place or a place away from regular society, they should just always be in scrolls. But like what? Because you paid what's her face from Game of Thrones? What's that actress's name?
Oh, Emile.
Emily Clark.
Yeah.
I mean, like, she's barely, I mean, you see her maybe like once or twice as a scroll. And even like in the fight scene in the end when she's fighting Garrick's the scroll, but she's not.
Nah, she's mostly human.
Form ever. And I think like I it's like, okay, like you want to have like a
I get that
point, you want to like, but that's not this. She should have been a scroll. Like, she should have been a scroll the whole freaking time. Like, I mean, like, you could see her and then she turns into a scroll. Whatever. Sure. But like I said, it's like the ending with the wife taking on the scroll form and then kissing her. And it'd be great if she was like, oh, little known fact about scrolls. Like, what's that? Our vaginas are in the middle of our back.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, I can deal with that. And then the credits roll.
Well, the one advantage to keeping them
Nick
mostly
can play.
the one advantage to keeping them human looking is that it did make that last scene a lot more impactful.
What's that?
The scene where she went and became like revealed herself to be Skrull. I mean, I know not revealed, but
Skrull,
like
but
like in her natural,
right.
I don't know. I think a C plus is probably about right for this show. I have to say that like
what was right?
A C plus for the show. It feels right. I mean, like I don't know, parts of it were really cool, but yeah, pacing,
The show
some
episodes were
decision
so
making.
short. Like I feel like
Yeah,
I don't want them dragged out long, but I feel like then you can flesh out things. And again, like I'm so sick of these last episodes being like always one of the short episodes. Mandalorian season 3 was like that too. The last episode was great,
yeah,
but it was like a half hour. It was one of the
yeah.
shortest episodes. The longest episode was the one about this fucking doctor that no one gave a shit about.
Right, right,
I'm like, if you're gonna make that like the hour long episode, the freaking finale should be an hour.
right.
The Secret Invasion, the first episode was kind of long. The second episode was like an hour, and I was like, "Oh, cool." I feel like if each episode, it's only 6 episodes. If each episode's like an hour long, then we can like really flesh these characters out and
That's
really
what I felt.
give scenes. And then it's like, oh, the next episode was like 40 minutes, not even. The next one was like even shorter, and I was like, "What?" And then
Yeah,
I looked to see how long the last episode was, and yeah, it was like again one of the shorter episodes, and I'm like, "You're just rushing this shit."
yeah. A lot of the Disney Marvel shows have had pacing problems. Um, usually it's the fifth episode or the next to the last episode that like it doesn't do enough to advance it. I think like episode by episode this felt about right, but when we were talking before we started recording, it just felt like they were trying to tell such a big story in really small terms, and it just
Yeah,
the scroll invasion or whatever seemed, I remember that as being like a decently big plot line in Marvel for a little while. It just seems weird that it's come and gone, I mean, like,
I mean, I get it. You can't have all the superheroes show up. It would be way too expensive, and
true.
want to focus on Fury. It's funny, like Guy is now the most powerful character in like the Marvel universe. I'm sure
Yeah,
next time I see it, they'll do something like, "Oh, the harvest was only temporary," or
or
she
the
can only
DNA is
access like
degraded, or
yeah, she can only access like one power at a time. That's fine. There's ways to get around that, but you got a
yeah.
sick fight scene in the end, and it was cool. Yeah, they
Mhm.
showed she had like when she did the mantis sleep
That was
thing.
great. Yeah,
Yeah, you see like one of them had a Drax arm for a second.
yeah,
Yeah, it was cool. And what's his face looks sick in the full scroll form. But again, like I said, it the show is kind of like it was kind of sloppy. It looks great in some spots. It looks cheap as fuck in other spots. Like the thing is, like shows like I mean, maybe I'm forgetting, but like shows like Loki, shows like WandaVision, they always look good. WandaVision was such a good show. I was like thinking
what
about that.
yeah,
WandaVision, which was like the first one, even though like I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first one, but it got all screwed up with COVID. Uh,
WandaVision looked amazing.
WandaVision was incredible. You had each episode was a different. You had to have designed each episode
Yep.
differently because it took place in different eras. And like you had the Vision, you had Monica Rambeau, you had all these like superhero elements and like the witch, and it's like you saw every penny on screen.
Yeah,
It
oh
looked
yeah.
good. But this one, I was like, I'm trying to think, like, She-Hulk had there was some complaints with like the CGI being wonky here and
I thought it
there.
was fine.
I that's fine, but even in the end of the day, it still looked decent. Like
Oh yeah.
it never to me looked like cheap, like cheap. Like
No.
this show just looked kind of like there's like weird scenes where they're just like in a room. I'm like, did they refilm shit and they just had to do it? So they're like, just film this in like
Yeah.
some office in Disney building or something. Like
Well,
film this
the
in the janitor's closet.
the last thing was that, and you were talking about this beforehand. Where do you go from here? Because it seems like it sets up a lot of things, but there's no clear path forward to addressing these things. I mean, maybe
Like,
the
okay,
Marvels
so
or
the world is now scared of scrolls. The
yep.
dumbass president puts out a crazy speech inspiring MAGA chuds to go out and attack people.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. It's a weird because you gotta realize you live like in this world. People are used to seeing aliens. They're used to
True.
seeing big battles. I mean, this is a post-blip world, and it's just kind of strange. Like you see people getting attacked and killed. I like how
Yeah.
they look like MAGA chuds. um, I think all that was setting up the new Captain America movie.
Okay.
I'll assume, could be wrong though. And I'll say why I'll probably be wrong about this because who the fuck knows. Um, Fury going off with his wife to space, back to the space station, basically, which is Sword.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Marvels. Did you see the new trailer? He's
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
He talks to Captain Marvel and everything, and that movie looks like it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I feel like what's her face though, who was great in the show, they're making her fucking annoying in the trailer.
Yeah,
Kamala Khan, is that her name?
Yes. I don't know
in the
why.
show, she's great. In the movie, in the trailers for these, they're making her like she's just like.
Well, it makes sense to me that she's going to be like the little sister role, and Carol Danvers is so kind of stoic that I think it's going to be a real fun pairing. Like,
right, but I'm just saying the trailers. Are just
I agree.
Reaction when she's like, "Oh my god," and it's like she wasn't in the show. She was great. So we know she's a decent actress, and I feel like hopefully. So this is my fear about the movie: is I have a feeling like they're not even going to mention anything that happened in Secret Invasion because they fucked up WandaVision and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. They fucked that up so hard. I was like, even when you're star of the show and movie, what's her face? Olsen.
Yeah.
Is like, did they read the script to WandaVision? She said they didn't.
Raimi didn't.
They weren't given it.
Yeah.
You would think like, hey, this movie is directly tied into what happens to this character, then ties into this movie.
Yeah, but no, they didn't.
Doctor Strange was supposed to show up in the end of WandaVision. They ended up like changing it. I remember going to theater and watching Multiverse of Madness. And I was like, this is good, but I'm like, did they watch WandaVision at all?
Yeah, it was disconnected.
It was like nothing. She learned nothing. It felt like I was reading a comic where the editors like didn't get together and like just fucked up, and like the same story gets repeated in two different comics. I've seen that happen so many times, but that shouldn't happen with like $200 million movies.
No, not this. Shows. And that's the hallmark of the MCU, is supposed to be that it's cohesive.
Supposedly this tight ship, and then you see that and you're like, that's a grade school level fuck up.
Yeah.
So my fear is that nothing that people are going to go in and they're going to expect like the president, whatever bullshit's going to show up in the Captain America movie, and then whatever with the scrolls and everything in Captain Marvel. It honestly wouldn't shock me if nothing from Secret Invasion gets mentioned in any of these movies.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm hoping that they do, but I don't know. After the WandaVision thing, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it wouldn't me either. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that was my final, not concern, but like wondering with this Secret Invasion. It's like, well, where does it all go? I don't see a clear path forward. But
that's the thing. I don't think it was intended to have another series, but it feels like if you were just a casual viewer of Marvel when you watch this, it would feel like they're setting up a season 2. Or we watch the Marvel movies, TV shows, so we just assume that these plots will be picked up in an upcoming movie.
Yes, that's what I think.
TV show that's really not 100% related to Secret Invasion. But like I said, after the huge fuck up in Multiverse Madness, it wouldn't shock me one bit if it doesn't really, if it's just off by a bit,
Yeah. I don't know.
I liked when he said to that guy, you're going to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
He's like, you just went full evil. You're an idiot. He's on the phone with them. I thought that was great.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I said it. The parts of Secret Invasion that are really good, and the parts that are like not that good, it just looks like a sci-fi show a little bit.
It did. I
a sci-fi channel show. I mean.
Oh yeah, well, I liked the vibe of it, but I don't know. I'll probably have to think about it longer. I really liked the last episode. I thought the last episode felt like that's the show I'd been wanting to watch.
But look at like Star Trek. I was going to bring this up too, and then we'll move on. But like that show, what's it called? The Star
Strange
Trek
New Worlds.
Yeah, like that show looks amazing.
It's so
every
good.
episode it just looks good. You got different costumes and like and I bet you the budget's not is like half of what
The aesthetics
Invasion
look
is.
good. They pay. Yeah, it's that's a really fun show. I don't know if it's a great show, but it's a really fun show.
But it's decent. I like the one when I have to catch. I missed a couple episodes, but I like the one where she goes back in time with Kirk, that one
Yeah.
woman. That was a
Yep.
really good episode. I like
Yeah,
that.
the guy they got to play Kirk is real good.
Yeah, I like how they kind of just sprinkle him in. They don't show him too much, but I like that. The 2 episodes. It's funny. The 2 episodes he's been in so far have been like ones that have to do with like time displacements, like the last because the season finale of the first season had to do with like didn't accept his fate and dies or gets turned into that weird coma thing,
right?
Like then Kirk would like not. It would just fuck everything up. And then another episode where Kirk, this version of Kirk, again, it's another alternate timeline Kirk. I find that
I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I mean, that's what I mean though. Like a show like that looks good, and
it does.
I guarantee. I mean, obviously they don't have like Samuel Jackson on. I'm sure he didn't, but again, this doesn't cost $50 million to get him. It's in the end of the day, it's a fucking TV show. And they said the ratings weren't that good. It wouldn't shock me one bit if we just see less
Marvel
less of these shows. Yeah. Like, I mean, you gotta understand, like WandaVision did great, but also movie theaters were closed.
Yeah.
It's like
I think it'll be tough. I just don't think they have the formula down yet. Like they can't afford to make these giant, big, expensive movies that very few people watch, but they could make smaller budgeted shows that do probably pretty well. So
I'm curious about Echo. That's coming
Yeah.
out. Echo comes out in like November, I think, and they're dropping all 6 at once. And I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
Echo
doesn't excite me, but hopefully I'm wrong, and I will
the villain's the Hood, and he's a cool character if they do it right. And I think what's his face is supposedly in it still too.
Kingpin.
Kingpin. I don't know if there's gonna be a Daredevil cameo. And supposedly they're gonna introduce Mephisto, and he's supposed to be played by Borat.
Really?
The guy who plays Borat, not actual.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm the devil, and yes, smash.
Yeah.
My wife.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Huh. All right.
So I think that's smart on their part. I don't think people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna tune in every week to Echo,"
Right.
But I don't know. I think Secret Invasion was kind of, and it stinks too because I figured like, dude, this isn't like, do you feel like these shows, the quality has gone down each show? Like WandaVision was amazing. Captain America, Falcon and Winter Soldier was really good. Loki was amazing. I hope Loki season 2 holds the same quality. Feel like it will.
What was the one right before this? Was it She-Hulk? Was She-Hulk the last one before this one?
I think so. I'm trying to think if there was anything this year.
I
She-Hulk
really
was last fall. Like, I don't think there was. Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think Secret Invasion might have been it. I'm trying to think if there was any other shows this year.
See, I really liked She-Hulk. I know that like people have legitimate complaints about it, but
I enjoyed it. I don't give a fuck what those other people think. Like,
I thought it was real fun.
I don't know what they expected. It reminded me of the comic. The comic always was kind of goofy like that, and I don't know what they had in mind, and they want to shit on it and talk about the effects. Yeah, the effects were kind of wonky, but I'm like, dude, the fact that it looks as good as it did, and they had like the Abomination, the Hulk, and everything. And I mean, this wasn't a movie; it was a TV show. The fact that it looked as good as it did, fucking people are spoiled. I'm sorry, he's spoiled.
Oh no! Did Miss Marvel come after She-Hulk?
I don't think so. I think She-Hulk was like. Let me look this up.
Yeah,
I feel like Miss Marvel was Marvel TV show release schedule. Let me see if this has it.
No, you're right. She-Hulk came after Miss Marvel. So
Secret Invasion, June 21st. Loki season 2, October 6th. Oh, sorry, that's just Marvel's November 10th. Echo November 29th. So we're getting a whole bunch of Marvel stuff in the last quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3, May 3rd, even though that might be delayed because of the acting strike. But no, did they have like preview?
I don't know, but I will say this, like, because I don't think
Moon Knight came out before She-Hulk.
All right.
Yeah, I think She-Hulk might have been the last one.
Well, if that's the case, then I don't think that it's necessarily declined, because I thought She-Hulk looked great, and the one before that, the Miss Marvel, I thought it looked okay, but before that was Moon Knight, and Moon Knight looked good. You know,
Actually looked good. Yeah, it looked decent. There was lots of different. That's the thing too. That's my complaint about it. Moon Knight had lots of sets, a lot of international sets. WandaVision had lots of sets. Captain America or Falcon Winter Soldier had lots of sets, but they had some scenes where they're just in a room. All the shows did.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Hawkeye looked great.
Yep.
Hawkeye looked like a good show. Again, there's scenes where they're just sitting in the room, but whatever. But I feel like this was heavily scenes and just people in a room, and I'm like wondering if they just went back and refilmed a lot of shit. I have no idea.
It's possible, you know.
It was okay. It's a give it a C plus. I can't say it's. I don't think it's the worst thing, but it's definitely to me. It's just like a bit of a disappointment. It stinks that it didn't perform as good, but at the same time, I mean, it wasn't their best effort either.
Yeah, it was just okay. It was fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of not okay,
the weather.
Not. I don't know if we even enjoy anything.
I'll tell you, I went to Phoenix, Arizona, about 2 weeks ago, and it was real.
When like the record temperature was happening.
Yeah, and we were there, and every day it was in the triple digits, you know, easily. There were times where it was like 10 p.m. and it was 107 degrees. It never got below the 90s. I mean, like some days the low was like 95.
That's crazy.
Highs were 118.
So even at night, is there like no humidity in Arizona though?
There's very little humidity. But they say
it would get to like 80 at least at night. No, just cool down a bit. But it's probably all that concrete and everything.
Well, yeah, we were in the middle of downtown Phoenix, like literally the middle of downtown.
Yeah.
Our hotel was right near where they have a big convention center, the Arizona Diamondbacks baseball team play, the Phoenix Suns play. Anyway, a lot of tall buildings. Real cool. Nothing but concrete. It was relentlessly hot. I mean, it was like really hot. I remember me and my family were at the hotel, and there's a pizza place about a half mile away. Like a literal half mile. I can walk that like nothing. But we set out from the hotel and walked to this pizza place, and it was an ordeal. I mean, we were drinking water. We would cross the street and look for shade. It was really hot.
But then your car would have been super hot.
Oh man. And then we get to
Did you rent a car?
Well, no, we got to the pizza place. Immediately we walked in and just started pouring sweat because we walked from outside to inside. Got real kind of dizzy and flushed. Anyway, we took an Uber back. I was like, I don't even know if an Uber is going to take us a half mile. You know, who's gonna come by and pick us up for like a $4 fare? But some guy did. And we got back. You know what I did most often? We took robot cars.
Oh yeah, you told me about that. That's weird. I don't know about that.
It was amazing. They were a fraction of the cost of an Uber, and they were all these
crashed 6 times.
Nice brand new Jaguars.
They asked for a tip.
No, you put it. Everything's done in the app, and then you enter. It's remarkable.
Joseph is betraying his human brothers and sisters.
It was
out to the robots.
It was
a couple of bucks.
Awesome. Anyway, long story short, you couldn't walk. Like the city, this is a big major metropolitan city. It looked abandoned 24 hours a day. No one left the inside.
That's just, well, Arizona is just hot as fuck.
Well,
and yeah, go ahead.
Here's the thing today. I just read this. This came out today. I'm sorry, no, it came out a couple days ago. 85 people in Arizona suffered severe burns from contact with pavement. Fucking pavement. Heated up to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. 7 died.
That's an oven.
In total,
Clearly an oven.
In total, 257 people had underlying cause of death listed as exposure to natural heat.
They said that is the hottest ever in like modern recorded history, 100 something degrees in Arizona.
Yep.
And and again, you see all these like right-wing dipshits saying like, "Oh, it's summer, it's hot. We have air conditioning. Go inside." Like fuck these people. Like we should force them to sit on that concrete.
Right. Well, I'll tell you,
their ass.
The two things I looked up while I was there is one is like, because it got me thinking like, well, how hot can it be before you just drop dead? Like, just not even like before you just drop dead because it's hot. And people were saying that like we're getting there. Like I think that it was like 135 degrees or 140.
You know who would probably be okay in that weather? Squirrels.
Well, they said that it gets to a certain temperature and your body it stops working. And they're saying that like parts of the world are getting to be that.
Yeah, you can't live there. It's inhabitable. Like, and Lloyd, you say like you sent me an article like yesterday or something about Florida's water, what the oceans were like 100 degrees.
101 degrees they measured the water temperature. Now
that's a soup.
Well, it also does like a couple things. One is
don't know where to cool off.
It bleaches coral, and if the coral dies, then entire ecosystems die. Nobody's sport fishing if there's no coral. And like,
why is that? What's the coral do?
The coral is like a living kind of rock, and a bunch of shit lives on the coral, and then smaller fish eat that stuff, and then larger fish eat the smaller fish. It's kind of like the building block of the food cycle, the food that thing. So if the coral goes, then that part of the water gets abandoned because like the food chain is disrupted. And then and some fish just drop dead because it's hot, just like people. It's too, they can't live in it. Try heating up your aquarium to 101 degrees and see what happens.
You get new fish,
right? But it is stunning. Though the other thing I looked up is like, well, how can planes work when it's real hot? Like, and they can't. Like once it gets to a certain temperature, they don't work anymore. Like you need the article said pilots prefer cold weather because the plane, this is like a stupid way of putting it, but the plane grips the air better.
Are you talking about like for them to get off the ground?
Yeah, they can't fly.
Not like when they're in the air, because once they're in the air, they're above like everything anyway.
Yeah, once they're in the air, but like
20 degrees where they are, they go like 30,000 above. To
take off and to gain altitude, you need it. It can't be that hot. It can't be real hot. So we had a flight leaving pretty early in the morning, and I was like real glad because it was like a brisk 102. But like if it's like 120 degrees, I don't know how many planes are taking off,
our plane was delayed a little bit on the way home, but thankfully
well, this is
go ahead. What
I was thinking, and I used to say, I remember even said it on the podcast. My number one issue has always been healthcare. Like if whenever they ask, like, what's your number? It's always been healthcare.
But this is all related.
This is like now a number one issue. Like I always assumed climate change, global warming, that kind of stuff was happening and it would get bad, but that it would be really an issue, after I'm gone. Like really, I figured.
I think we're going to be witnessing it.
I think
We're
we
gonna be
are.
alive for it.
I think we are. And Miami's going to go underwater, and New Orleans is going to go underwater, and probably parts of like Georgia and the Carolinas.
Parts of New York too.
Yeah, and parts of the country are just going to be uninhabitable and maybe even abandoned. Unless they do really significant things to adapt, which Phoenix seems to be trying to do. But like, then what? You're gonna live in like a glass dome? It's like fucking Logan's Run or something. I mean, it's
go underground.
It's crazy.
Like it is crazy, and I feel like nothing's being done about it. And like I said, when you have these dipshits go on TV and go, "Wow, it's hot, it's summer," and you're just like, "Okay, you're an asshole. Why don't you shut the fuck up?" Like,
yeah.
And what did you tell me? Like the joke. Okay, so like brackish water, for example. You said you don't want to go in water that is the same temperature as the human body, because the things that are living in that water at the same temperature,
they can live in you.
They can live in you.
Yeah.
Which is why you always see those stories of people getting like viruses and shit. And,
yeah.
And I would imagine the kind of shit breathing in Florida 100-degree water is probably not good for us.
No way. I mean, like every year, and it's happened already this year, but every year in Florida, you would read about kids. They'd play in these ditches with standing water, and the water would be like fucking warm, and like a dog would shit nearby, or like it's just like fucking disgusting. And I saw. I was sitting looking out my window today, and I saw we have a pond in the backyard.
Yeah,
it's like 103 degrees today.
I think it's gotta be nasty as fuck.
I saw kids in the pond, like putting their hands in the pond and shit, and I'm like, that pond, the water there is probably like at least 12% turtle shit. I mean, like
petri dish.
Red sliders, that breed of, they're known to be bacteria. They're like hot zones. Each one is its own little hot zone. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're gonna touch your mouth. I know you are, with like turtle shit that's been kept virulent because of the petri like conditions. Anyway, yeah, Florida. It's all the stuff we always talk about. There's these bacterial infections spread, viruses spread. I am real worried about like the near future climate wise. I think
and it is related to health too.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of, and I just kind of you start talking about turtle shit, and what I thought of just went away. But it just has to do with climate change. But I don't know, man. It's pretty scary. Yeah, and it is all related to health too. That's it, like COVID. Okay, so you see all these dipshits that want to believe that like COVID was a lab leak,
right?
And I say to that, who gives a fuck if it was or wasn't? The damage still happened, right? And the response that people had to it was awful. And usually, the people that want to believe it's a lab leak are usually the people who never wore masks and get vaccinated, and just want to attack Asian people.
Yeah,
I don't take them seriously. But the reality is that COVID, just like almost every other virus in the past, whatever, is related to our environment, and
the
fact that like the ocean's getting a degree hotter, that areas are getting hotter, summers are lasting longer, we're getting crazy storms. Well, guess what? There's like there's like insane storms all the time. New shit starts, there's like tons of water getting dropped. You're gonna have all kinds of shit breathing. I was like looking at my back. We had tons of rain this year. Tons. Yeah. And I have like weeds I've never seen before last year that were not here last year. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? I mean, like, because there's so much water. Like, what?
What are they doing to us?
No, but I mean, like, there's so much water that dropped that it it's feeding the ground, and it's like all these. I mean, like, think about that. I'm just talking about my stupid garden in my backyard, but like COVID was a reaction to global warming, for climate change.
All those things, and it's always the three things: deforestation, and globalization and global warming. And when you tear down forests and find new bacteria and viruses living there, and then you spread them globally through people traveling and transportation and whatnot, and then they can thrive anywhere. It used to be like if a virus got loose, a tropical virus got loose in Montana, it was no big deal because it wouldn't survive Montana, but probably survive Montana these days.
Yeah, because Montana's getting like 85, 90 degree weather on average. If Montana, Colorado is hotter than normal.
Yeah.
Colorado, for like some of the houses we looked at when we moved out here, some of them didn't have AC because when they were like, we don't really need AC here. We get like 1 or 2 hot, really, really hot days a year. The rest of the year, it's like 70s, maybe 80s. Open a fucking window, you're fine. But now you need it. You need.
When
it was 100 degrees the other day here.
When I lived in Portland, Oregon, most places didn't have air conditioning, but they probably do now. 30 years later.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a shift in everything because Colorado, the weather's going to be fine in Colorado for the foreseeable future, but it's not going to be skiing fine. A lot of those towns that rely on skiing aren't going to be able to do that anymore. They'll be fine weather-wise. I mean, they're not going to like be frying on the sidewalk like in Phoenix, but they're also not going to be selling lift passes, So,
yeah, exactly. Like it'll disrupt the economy. Yeah. But like if you have 90 degree, 95 degree and weeks of it in a climate that didn't have it, you're gonna have shit.
Yeah.
That bugs that never breathed there before. You're gonna have all kinds of like example is I guess like termites as example. It's a big thing in Texas. It's not really big here, but guess what? It's fucking hot all the time. Fucking termites might be like, hey, we can live here.
Well, seriously, I mean that's how it starts, like moths or termites or different like invasive insects. They just move, I mean, years ago it might have been that pythons couldn't have lived in Florida, and now they can. So it's scary. It really is.
Yeah, scary. Like they said, like is it like bringing a animal to an area that's not its climate, and you're disrupting the ecosystem. There's like a reason for that. They say like, I don't know, whatever. It's just it's going to be an issue. I don't know, and and you like Biden will go and be like, oh, and by 2035, all cars will be this. Like, who fucking by 2035?
Yeah.
Like. About like by 2025,
I think
cars should, or about like, hey, you know what? Maybe instead of like, maybe the answer to isn't electric cars. Maybe the answer is more mass transit.
Yeah.
More mass transit. Like our country's terrible. Like I went to New York City and it, you're like you get the subway and the buses and everything like that. It's decent, But you go to Long Island, I had to rent a car because you're fucked. You can't get around.
Yeah.
It's this country is, well, go ahead. What?
No, you're right. That's it. I mean, I think it needs to be really aggressive, and they need to say like, well, look, you can't build a new town 70 miles, from anywhere in the middle of like Kansas. You can't do that anymore.
Where's your water source?
Right. You're going to be on your own. You can't, like in Arizona, up until pretty recently, they were building towns out in the middle of the desert. Everyone there needed a car. Everyone there needed water. A lot of those homes were built with swimming pools and lawns and shit. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? What are you thinking? I mean, you need to, there needs to be like
their real estate schemes. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah. But there needs to be like a really aggressive, like, how can we build more infrastructure where things already exist, and I don't know.
Like solar panels should be on like everyone's fucking house.
Yeah. Well,
HOAs need to like shut the fuck up and allow people to have solar panels on their houses. Like Arizona, the whole entire desert of Arizona should just be solar panels. You could probably feed the whole western seaboard with that.
It is pretty crazy. Yeah. Well, fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess I should say, the person leading the charge to deal with climate change in Florida is Ron DeSantis.
Well, he's actually dealing with the real problem in Florida.
Yes. Woke. woke
Woke.
weather.
What?
This-
No, not weather. He doesn't know what that is. He only
This-
knows the only word he knows with a W is woke.
Yeah. It is
That's
weird.
the
Like
real issue.
Florida's like, and look, I lived in Florida for a long time. There's plenty of stuff I like about Florida, but it's got some really significant problems, and not an insignificant number of them are related to climate change or global warming or whatever. It's in bad shape. We had as our next thing the DeSantis educate. I guess it's a decent segue. It's gone real anti-science and kind of pro-religious. You were saying that they've adopted the Prager University curriculum.
Well, they said that they could if they wanted.
Yeah.
And that's insane because that's not actual anything. It's just
Yeah.
a bunch of jackasses pushing falsehoods to push a right-wing agenda that's sponsored by like the fracking industry. I mean,
it's like getting chick tracks as your school books or whatever. Like,
what is that?
right, you know those the little they're paper kind of comics, the real Christian ones. They did one
Yeah.
like it's your
Yeah.
new textbook.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's first name, but his last name was Chick.
Okay.
Anyway, so the big news in Florida is that they introduced these new education standards. I used to be a part of this. I was a teacher in Florida for a long time. But the new standards, I took a picture of them, and they're real shocking. They go out of their way to explain that this is an actual guidance. The instruction includes how slaves developed skills which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's well, the even more insane part is that that's added as a clarification. Like, here's what you got to teach, but let's be real clear here. I want to clarify that you got to tell them that the slaves sometimes benefited from slavery. You know,
like when a slave was raped by the master at some time, they were just learning new techniques.
It's
Get the fuck out of here. These people are
it
nuts.
is gall. It's really
disgusting.
bad.
I mean, that's the what they say, like the why that movie from Disney from the like 40s, whatever, is so disgusting.
Song of the South.
Because it basically implies that everything was great in the South and blacks like knew their place.
Yes.
And they were happy. They were happy.
That's a big myth in the South, is that the slaves were well fed and taken care, given medical care, taught to read. That is a huge pervasive myth in
a fucking lie. Yeah, maybe like there might have been one master or whatever that was like good to their maybe, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It goes again. It's like no one should be allowed to, I don't know. It's disgusting. It's literally people sold into bondage, sold into slavery. They were subhuman. They were not treated like people. They were literally tools. They were considered farm equipment. They were considered property. If a guy had debt, he could use his slaves as assets to sell, because it's like owning like a nice record collection or something. I mean, it's like it is absolutely disgusting.
Well,
and to say that Black people benefited from slavery because they might have learned some skills is so fucking ridiculous.
It really, I mean, it obviously is. Even Byron Donalds, who's like an extreme right-wing MAGA chud.
He's just it's not even that he's an extreme right-wing MAGA chud. He's just a MAGA chud. He's a reactionary, and he's going to repeat the right-wing bullshit stories.
Well, he's come out against it. I think the DeSantis campaign, which is kind of the next thing on our list, is imploding.
I will say, because they're not done yet with this thing, is that Byron Donald, though, I don't trust, because
no,
he's a scumbag, and he's also a Trump supporter. See, the funny thing about DeSantis is he's flew too far into the right-wing Klan, Nazi, whatever, son.
Not so sweet.
That the funny thing is, as racist and horrible as Donald Trump is, he likes to have this claim that he performed the best among Black people in 2016. I don't know if he gained more in 2020, but he's under this illusion. And I think compared to past Republican presidents, he might have cracked to like 0.25% or whatever more.
Yeah.
And that's like his claim to victory. Of course, he would turn that into like 50% or something crazy.
Right.
He's a liar and exaggerator.
Yeah.
But Ron DeSantis is just feeding into that by being so ridiculously racist, by being so like that he's like actually helping Trump.
Yeah. It is weird. DeSantis, a lot of the Republicans, we were going to talk about Tommy Tuberville as well. They've gone kind of all in on this white nationalism, like literally have just kind of.
It's become part of their it's
their identity,
their platform. Yeah. It's literally their platform.
And I mean, it is different than Trump. Like Trump was a racist, like don't get me wrong, but he said the right things and he would go out of his way to be real performative and like.
Yeah, Diamond and Silk. So
yes.
And that other guy, that one black dude who like shows up at MAGA rallies, he's like a failed actor. Like, so and he killed what's his face, died at one of his rallies. The Godfather pizza guy.
Yeah, Herman Cain.
Herman Cain, yeah. So his black friend died.
But Trump did a lot of things that old racist white guys normally do, which is like, this is my good black friend, you know. I mean, like I remember
somebody told me that Trump wasn't racist because he took a photo with Muhammad Ali. And I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
He didn't put out a whole thing asking for the execution of 5 innocent black young men. He didn't.
You see, one of them just won a political race.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good for them. He didn't. Him and his father didn't try like kicking out people, and he didn't get fined or anything for being incredibly racist. He's horrible. I remember when they did the what was it? They did a roast for Trump, like back in like 2012 or whatever, on Comedy Central. And Snoop Dogg was there, and he just flat out said, "I fucking hate you. You're a racist shit." Like, those aren't the 100% the words, but that was pretty much it. There was no love there. It wasn't like, on this guy. He's like, I'm Macy. Went on there. Probably went on there so he could say that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the difference. Is like Trump and DeSantis are probably similar amount of racist, you know, but
Trump is going full on racist.
Yeah,
Trump is in that line. Don't go full.
Right. Yeah. Like in Tropic Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah. The Simple Jack. You don't do that. And DeSantis is like, I mean, like, it's also the state of Florida, but it's his fucking state. If he could come out against it and say, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to do my best to change it. But no, that's not the case at all. He put in specific people to do shit like that.
Yeah. A lot of them were like really shitty, like straight up white nationalists tweeting out Nazi propaganda and stuff.
This is the same people who, like, you know, during the Trump years, they, you know, when Holocaust Remembrance Day, and they try to like do this whataboutism and try to bring up other Holocausts. Like, dude, but the holiday is specifically about the Holocaust from the 40s, the Nazi one, you know, like that's, and by you doing that, you're being a sneaky little anti-Semite, actually.
Well, I think that, again, this is part of the reason DeSantis is imploding, and part of the reason why Tuberville eventually pulled back is that I think the average white voter will vote for a racist, but they want enough cover to claim that they haven't. You know what I mean?
You brought up Tuberville, but what did Tuberville do?
Tuberville, or whatever.
Tommy Tuberville, senator of Alabama. He beat out the Democrat.
Doug Jones.
Barely won because his opponent was an actual like pedophile. But Republicans still came out in droves to vote for that guy.
He went on, I forget who it was. It wasn't Nicole Wallace. I think it was Caitlin Collins. And he said, white nationalists are Americans. They're just good Americans. And this
Well, he is
woman,
right. They are Americans.
this woman, I think it was Caitlin Collins, went way out of her way to either get him more clearly on the record or to give him a chance to dial it back. And
yeah, hey, buddy, I'm literally walking you across the street.
Yeah. And he wouldn't. He just kept doubling. And then for days he doubled down. And he finally came out and said, some mealy-mouthed apology, well, I meant, that white people who are nationalists are good. I mean, he just came up with some bullshit apology.
He's like, I know what my voters are.
Right. Well,
fucking right.
He probably did, but I've been reading lately that that the courts are making Alabama and a few other states redraw their districts, and the Democrats may be able to pick up some seats in the South. There's a lot of black people live in Alabama.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear about how white nationalism is awesome. They don't, no. I presume. And a lot of younger people don't want to hear that. A lot of younger people want no part of that, Yeah,
well, there's a lot of young white racists down in the States.
There are, but
racism will thrive.
There are. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I don't discount that.
Back to the whole slavery thing, how gross that is, because it also is not just is it downplaying the the effects of stripping someone of their rights and owning someone as if they're a hammer or an old dishwasher, literally a dishwasher. You're also incredibly, when you say something like, oh, these people picked up skills, they learned how to read, that is so fucking racist. So you're saying that the people that were stolen from their countries and kidnapped or whatever, put into, or just born into the system too, which is usually the case too, bred into being a slave, that they would never be able to achieve any kind of intelligence, whatever, if it wasn't for the kind mistress of the plantation to read them. That is so fucking racist. That is that's disgustingly racist. As if these people didn't have a society that they lived in and didn't have it's just so fucking gross. I can't handle it.
I will say
so many levels of racism. It's unbelievable.
There are, I agree with you, there's plenty of young white racists in Alabama, but I'll bet you there are fewer, as expressed by a percentage, young white racists in Alabama today than there were 10 years ago.
Well, yeah.
And I'll bet you there's fewer than 20 years ago. And I'll bet you if you look at the trend,
they all moved to Florida.
Well, the trend is that people become less racist in general over time. Now we may mistake a spike,
but I feel with the internet, YouTube, podcasts, right-wing media, that it's shifting backwards.
Yeah,
these things have such huge reach. They have audiences of millions of people. And it spreads like a cancer. These people did not have, like I said, the kind of shit that I hear today is that trashy Nazi comic that I saw in high school. It was just some photocopied little pamphlet drawn with just mediocre drawings, just talking, and the stuff I would see in that gets spread today on YouTube. They don't have to come out and say they're Nazis or anymore. They just put out false history, and people will watch a video and not realize they just watched a bunch of racist propaganda.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I mean, look at Florida, saying we're gonna have PragerU as a curriculum.
Yeah,
that's brain rot. And then these motherfuckers always talk about what's the word they don't want their kids being. That's not a hit brainwash. It's not indoctrination. What the fuck do you think they're doing? It's all indoctrination. I saw Tim Pool post something about indoctrination. I said, dude, that is literally your entire existence, is to indoctrinate young people into being a right winger.
Yeah. Well, that's
his main project.
That's specifically what Florida and Texas have done as states. And it's what a lot of school boards have done locally.
Attacking CRT, attacking And again, but this is also to hurt public education.
Yeah.
All these things are to erode public education and to steal tax dollars and put them into religious schools and put them into private schools.
Yeah. No, it's awful.
It's a sinister scheme. Like, it's really what it is meant to just attack unions and attack public education.
Well, fortunately, and I'm not saying Trump is any better, but
No,
fortunately,
Trump is part of it. He's
Yeah.
part of that machine.
fortunately, DeSantis at least is getting crushed in the polls. I have the last 2 weeks polls pulled up here, and here are the numbers, and these are all just the Republican primary. Trump up 37, Trump up 39, Trump up 41, Trump up 43, Trump up 38, Trump up 37, Trump up 27, Trump up 40. These are all over the place.
Yeah.
Different states. One of those was from Iowa, one was from South Carolina, one was from the whole country. DeSantis is just floundering. I agree.
But he's still number 2, right?
Yeah, but he's like number 2. It's like here's a good way of looking at it. This is the Republican primary poll, came out July 22nd, and they had Trump at 53%, Meatball Ron at 17%, and then everyone else in variations of like 1, 2, or 3%. So you're right that like Meatball Ron is number 2, but look,
Well, he's a number 2.
Yeah, right. If Trump is at 53%, that's the end of the poll, right? Like, there aren't enough points left for
I know,
Meatball
but I
Ron
still think he's a threat until he drops out.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
It's way too early. There hasn't even been a debate yet. The first debate's on August 23rd. I guess there's 7 so far. 7 people that qualify. Obviously, I'm assuming it's Trump and DeSantis. Christie qualify.
Yeah, here I got the list up here. There are
that guy or whatever his name is.
7 people qualified. Donald Trump, Meatball Ron, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Tim Scott, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum.
Oh, that guy's he's gonna kill Doug Burgum. Oh my God, he's gonna crush it. He's gonna be like, yeah, that's right. I'm Doug and I'm here to fuck.
What? Trump's gonna call him Hamburgum.
No, he'll just ignore him.
That's Trump did that in the last one where he kept saying that a lot of the people on the stage shouldn't be there.
I bet what he's gonna do is he's gonna demand to get paid. He tried doing that in the last one. He wanted to be paid. He's like, they're just coming and watching me. They just want to see me. Why? This is a title, Pat. They want to see me fight DeSantis. They're gonna have to pay me. I'm the champ.
Well, Pence is not on that list.
I know, that's hysterical.
He's scrambling to make the cut, and there's not a lot of time.
I think it's funny that he's even running.
I think you need 40,000. You need a certain amount of polling in a certain number of states, but you also need like a certain number of donors.
Well, this shows you how much value he actually gave Trump, which was that you could have had anyone like Pence in that position, and it wouldn't matter. No one gave a fuck about Pence ever.
No, but he did. He probably brought along some people.
Well, I think he's just that. It's like, it's like almost like the fucked up thing, like with Obama picking Biden in it.
Yeah,
it's like the young black guy picking like a white dude, so he could be like, hey, listen,
right.
This guy, I know you're not sure because he's this young black dude, but I'm here. You can trust me.
Yeah.
If I like him, you should like him too. And then I feel like that's almost like the same thing with like Mike Pence. It's like, this blob of orange shit over there. He's a fucking rapist, and he walks into little girls changing in a locker room, and he's vulgar and he's disgusting, and he looks like Baron Harkonnen and the fucking Richard. What's his name? Which Dune movie is that?
Yeah, the not Richard Rodriguez.
No, what's his name? What's that director? You love him.
Yeah, what David Lynch.
Yeah,
David Lynch is, yeah.
He looks like Baron Harkonnen.
I was trying to think of the new one, yeah.
You know, but you could trust me, Mike Pence. I'm an old racist white guy as well, and I also like to fearmonger God with bullshit religious garbage that really doesn't apply to the Bible. You could trust old Mike.
Well, he is not in the mix. It's just, I don't know. I mean, like I agree being wary of DeSantis, but man, I just don't see it's going to be Trump unless something.
I know, but I can see Trump being like, I don't have to even do this debate. Why do I need to be there?
Yeah,
I could almost like see him like chicken out and not do it because he's like,
well, one of the
why should I do it?
There is an interesting thing where to debate, you have to swear to support the eventual nominee.
Yeah, but he won't.
Right. And I remember there's being something about that last time. I can't remember how it was
like
resolved,
I'll just run. If you don't pick me, I'll just run a third party. I don't care.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, like, but he could get away with it because the Republican Party is totally indebted to him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how this guy who should be fucking rotting in prison for January 6th, just January 6th alone. I'm not talking about anything else so far. Just January 6th should be enough to have this guy be removed from ever collecting any kind of pension, being fucking like he's not going to be buried in DC.
Yeah, right.
Like he should be fucking like he should be a stain. Like there should be an asterisk next to his fucking name. Like do you notice there's no painting? Do you notice that? I thought about that. You know, right around this time, either the second or third year of a presidency, you would see that like the president before would get their painting.
Right.
Obama got his like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Not him. You know why? Because he's a fucking shit stick. He's a pox. So the idea that this fucking clown could run is disgusting. And the fact that
it is gross.
There's so many people that are willing to vote for this guy is deranged. It's fucking deranged. It is brain rot. And that's why I'm not too positive about these so-called young, progressive, open-minded. No, a lot of these kids are repeating anti-trans bullshit, I'm sorry, dude. I don't have a positive outlook. I think there's so much brainwashing that in 5 or 10 years, it's going to be fucking scary, dude.
I don't know. I may be a little more optimistic.
Maybe in your little hippie artist collective where you live in the village, you know.
Right. Wow.
You know, it'll flourish there. But I'm serious. I really think that we're gonna have like a generation of just some real gross people that's gonna, you know, come out like the YouTube generation and all that. They're gonna, you know, that's what's messed up is like, you know, you had strict guidelines and stuff. That's why you didn't have Nazi propaganda flourishing on TV or cable. Then here comes YouTube. Just upload whatever the fuck you want. We don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Oh, the top viewed video is saying the Holocaust didn't exist, and we had it. We still have it up from 15 years ago. What we're doing here? We're just a bunch of tech bros. We have no idea.
The top new video is probably Trump's new ad currently.
Oh, that okay. Yeah, let's talk about that. That's a good segue, Joseph. Good job.
Yes.
So I saw a Frank Luntz tweet where he was talking about this ad. I mean, the ad is bananas. It sounds like bad Nine Inch Nails being played in the background.
Yes, it does.
And it's this bizarre thing about the deep state and like how if I ran the deep state, I would put in a puppet president. I would take away the votes. I would turn people into women. Like it was like the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And it's so insane because the only thing, anyone that would get out of that thing would be like, well, why would I vote? My vote's not going to count.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a weird sell. I don't know. Sometimes I think Trump, I mean, like, I think Trump's savvy in a lot of ways, but like, sometimes he just throws a bunch of shit out there. And
well,
like,
it's not him doing it. You think, you know?
No, but like,
let me design this ad.
I meant like Team Trump.
Yeah, it is Orbit. I know.
But like,
Would the QAnon shaman make that ad?
Right. It is weird. It's a weird thing. I know, like, I think that ad is not going to get any traction, and we'll not hear about it again.
No, probably not.
And he'll come up with something new, and he'll keep doing it.
And weird. And it's like, I think your average person would watch it and be like, what the fuck is this?
What the fuck?
What is this about? Yeah, this is like someone who's like online all the time would get this. But I think your average person would watch it and just be like, what?
I think you're right. I think they say that about the DeSantis campaign. Like, some of this shit is just real online. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't translate to normal people. It, like, sometimes I'll catch myself even making like an online joke in real life, and it like falls flat and nobody knows what I'm talking about. And you recover from it quickly if you're quick. But I don't know, like I used the he's just innocent men or something. I used like that in conversation a while ago, and like no one knew what I was talking about. Like, no, just like, and like, what are you gonna explain that to someone? Like, it's just not gonna work, I mean,
I don't know. It's an evil ad though. It's filled with all kinds of gross conspiracies, and again, it's like, this shit, he's never gonna learn. This motherfucker needs to be locked up in prison. He still thinks he still lies about the 2020 election being stolen. And I'm curious if that'll come up on the stage.
Oh, and I'm sure.
The one thing that'll be a challenge, it won't be Trump, it'll be the other candidates.
Yeah.
Do you believe that the 2020 election was stolen, like this man, like your opponent over here? And all of them are going to have to come up with like
an answer. Yeah.
An answer. Now I could see, we'll see, maybe I'm giving Christie too much credit, but I could see it being a good opportunity and it'd be an amazing soundbite if he's like, you lost, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You lost.
I think he would. I think he would be the one to say that.
I think I'm giving him too much credit until he actually does it. But I could see that being out of all those candidates, I could see him being the one that could do it, because he's like a East Coast, he has no chance of winning the primary. He just wants to renew his contract with like ABC and in the book. So, and all this, and by doing that, he's just going to get idiots like me to like cheer for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, good job, guy who sucks. No, but I mean, that would be amazing. I mean, my God, if he did that, and everyone else is like groveling and trying to come up with some double speak answer, and Christie just goes, "Yeah, you did. You lost, man. You did." That's all he has to say.
That would be
lost, buddy.
That would be the kind of thing where you could see a debate changing things. Look, I don't think this will happen, and I don't think what I'm about to say is very realistic.
It would crush Trump if he did that. I think Trump would not have an answer.
You could see if Christie did that, you could see a possibility where he gains a little bit of traction that snowballs quickly.
Well, they would talk about him like crazy. He would be interviewed, and it would be like winning. I mean, I wouldn't say winning primary, but if your goal is to just be a public figure, a person who gets invited on MSNBC, CNN, and other shows all the time, and be a regular guest and a contributor, this is the way to stay in the spotlight forever. You don't have to win shit. You just have to say this. But I think it would destroy Trump. I don't think Trump would have an answer. He wouldn't know what the fuck to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. He'd be like, "You're fat. You're fat. Look at this guy. He's fat." And it's like a fat guy saying it. It's like orange blob of shits on stage calling another person fat. Man, look at Tubby over there. It's like, dude, you ever looked in a mirror?
Right. Yeah, that's like all right. Well, we have one more political item here, and that is in Michigan. The Attorney General has charged.
Wait, you're telling me the UFO hearings and Biden's dog attacking people is not political?
Yeah, I guess they're political. Well, I guess one more like hard political. Anyway, they've arrested or charged 18 people with like pretty significant crimes.
They could go to jail for like 15 years or
Yeah.
something, 20 years.
Oh,
And this is
yeah.
in Michigan, right?
Yep.
Good. And
Yeah.
the problem is, in like every state, there's probably a whole bunch of people like this that need to be arrested.
That's the thing, is this really should be a federal thing, that the Department of Justice should be charging all these people with fraud, or whatever.
Yeah, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it. Michigan, like, almost overnight became like a really blue state, like,
Yeah.
really blue.
Well, that's what's funny is like these states that, yeah, okay, Florida just gets deeper into the red, but like, you could also say thanks to Trump, some of these other states just flipped blue and went real far.
Yeah. I think this is a great move. It's really, these people have been like wandering around. This always bugs me. These false electors, Trump and the MAGA chuds and the January 6th people. They were trying to steal my vote. Like,
and they figured, they thought they would get away with it, like they were in the right.
And they're so indignant about it. Like they're so pissed off that they didn't get their way in depriving me of my vote. And you and everyone else who voted for someone other than Trump. And they're just wandering around free. And even the ones that went to jail briefly, they've all gone back to that psycho realtor from Plano or whatever. The one who was
Frisco.
Yeah. She did like, I don't know, 90 days at a prison. And now she's back online just chirping away about MAGA and the deep state and these conspiracies and Trump won. None of them learned a goddamn thing.
No.
That QAnon shaman cleaned up, did his time, got out, and now he's right back to where he started.
He hasn't learned anything. If anything, he should be sent back.
Yeah, none of them have learned a thing. None of them.
Because they were idealized by the right. They were like treated like political prisoners. Now, I'm sure there's a couple of people who were like, QAnon shaman's a joke, though. His whole goal is to get attention.
Yeah.
He's a grifter. That's his existence. But any like person who might have been like normal, had a business or worked a job and fell into this, there's probably some people like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna
stay out. You're right. I mean, I shouldn't have said
I'm sure there's a few of those. I'm sure there's a few of those, but no, the majority of them, because even that stupid realtor lady, isn't she like she does like a radio show or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a right-wing grifter personality too. So of course she's gonna like fucking, not shut up and like just keep. And the thing is, like, they were treating them like they were political prisoners. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you guys are the heroes. So they learned nothing. They were probably getting gifts in jail, some of them, you know what I mean? So in their mind, they're like, yeah, it's bullshit that they arrested me.
Yeah.
But the next time we do this and we put in the king, we'll be on his court. I don't know. These people are, I don't know what goes on in these people's brains.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
probably
stunning.
no brains. Probably just like worms, brackish water.
Well, I do think that charging these people with crimes is a great idea, the false electors. Pretty disappointed that other states haven't done it. We'll see. I mean, like
there should be like a blueprint. Like, hey, this is how we did it. It's super easy.
Well, that's, I think, the benefit of the Michigan one is it gives a precedent. All right, so UFO hearings.
Oh God!
I
did not. You know about this? I didn't watch any of this. I just heard about it, and I saw that one congresswoman who was part of it, and she looks like a bird. Old lady. I don't know what state she's from. She looks like to me, she looks like a bird.
Yeah. Yes.
I keep thinking she has a beak.
She looks like she hatched from the same clutch of eggs as did Callista Gingrich.
And the chicken lady.
From Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they had these.
UFO real
hearings.
quick. Was Mark McKinney was on SNL years ago. I think he only did like one.
Oh
season.
Yeah.
It was post Kids in the Hall, and I remember they did a skit where he was the chicken lady.
Oh really?
It was weird. It was like it was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this works here.
Yeah, that's Canadian. That's keep that in Canadian.
I don't know, man. This is like be a little too esoteric for SNL. I don't know, man. You might
Yeah.
esoteric. There's a little too much nuance in this chicken lady skit for SNL. I don't think your average. I don't think Midwest gets.
Yeah, they don't.
Chicken lady. All right,
They
back
get it.
to
They get aroused by it.
yeah. Whoa.
So
Hmm,
right.
who's this dame?
Hmm.
Who's this guy?
So they had these UFO hearings, and the basic premise was that Trump started this, I'm going to declassify UFO stuff a while ago. So the right wing
Dude, I remember when Trump won, so many of these idiot conspiracy people like Trump's doesn't care. So
Yeah.
like, he's gonna reveal the stuff, man. And this one girl was like, Trump's face when he found out he won, and then he was given papers, and his face, like his information about the aliens. And I was like, he probably just farted.
Yeah, they probably just handed him like a children's menu from
It was a
local
DVD
Denny's.
of Independence Day. An old DVD of Independence Day. He said, "Here you go. Here's the aliens. This is all the what you need right here."
Our only choice is to take off and nuke it from space. So he so anyway, they had this hearing, and like I like talking about UFOs and everything. I think it's certainly possible that alien life exists. I don't think we've seen it or whatever. I mean, hey, but it's interesting to talk about. I think it's very likely that there's a lot of UFOs in the air that are drones from Walmart, and or like
probably more likely that. Yeah.
Or that Chinese space balloon, the weather balloon or whatever. There's like a lot of shit up there that we don't know about. And we probably should talk about it because you don't want I'm surprised there hasn't been an instance where a jet has been trying to land and a drone gets sucked up into the engine or something.
One time I was driving on the highway and I saw a beam of light shoot up from low into it was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that was. Maybe I had a stroke.
Yeah.
It was aliens. You know what though? Guess what?
What?
It was pretty cool. It was cool. It was during the day. It was weird. It was like a light went really quick, a line in the sky, and I was like, "Whoa, that launched quickly."
Well,
you know what? I don't know what else to say about it.
That's what I mean. Like, look, I'm open to all those ideas. Do I think it's likely that a little dude got in a spaceship and flew here from 4 light years away? I don't think so. I mean, that doesn't sound right.
Little dude, yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
This is me, Mr. What's that guy's name? From the Flintstones.
The Great Gazoo.
Yeah, what a genius. That's when you know your show's doing well. When you're like, I don't know, what do we do with this caveman show? I have an idea. What if there's an alien that only Fred could see?
Right. Does he call people dum-dums?
Oh, that's great. This will make you show on for decades.
Well, I think it's certainly possible that some of these things could be like extra dimensional. Maybe they're hallucinations. Maybe they're natural phenomena that we're not aware of. I don't think time travel is like super likely, but maybe it's something like that. Look, there's all sort. I'm open to any possibility. And should serious people talk about that stuff? Yeah, I think so. I think like scientists,
like that guy who has that hair and he goes aliens in the meme.
Well, maybe not him, but like
people like that. Yeah, I think.
I think all this stuff is good, and I'm real interested in it. So like the fact that there's a hearing, I don't think is a bad thing. However, it was run by the stupidest motherfuckers I've ever. It was like first person I saw was that
Robert, one of them.
No, but well, maybe she was. I didn't watch the whole thing. So Virginia Fox, who's roughly 107 years old.
Is that lady? I said looks like a bird.
Yeah,
she looks like a bird.
She started talking, and she's talking about the China balloon and how Biden failed us with the China balloon, and I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah, and then it's like this guy from Missouri who just looks like he literally fell off a turnip truck, and I googled him real quick. The first thing I saw about him was how he said that DirecTV getting rid of Newsmax was worse than what Hitler did when he took control in Germany. So he's number 2 on the list talking. And then it was Matt Gaetz. And like it was just like dumb motherfucker after dumb motherfucker. And they're all dumb as fuck.
These are not serious people.
And
it's a waste of time.
That's the thing is I was like, look, this could have been.
You have Joe Rogan there too at this point.
Yeah, this could have been like, it could have been a serious discussion about like, look, we got to get a hold on drones and shit. We need to know what's in the air. How are we going to do that? Or it could have been a cool theoretical discussion like, what are some possible explanations for these things? You know, let's open the gates and kind of like. But it wasn't.
Who probably think the world's 6,000 years old talking about it.
It was, yes, it was dummy after dummy after dummy.
Did anyone make it like all weird and religious and shit?
Yeah, one guy said that and I think I texted this to you. I was not kidding. He said that it was the devil. He thought that a lot of these UFOs were the devil.
Space devil. You know, we got a problem with the space devil. We're going to do everything we can to stop the space devil from spreading its space devil ideas on us.
But then their star witness was a Navy intelligence officer or something. Like it looked like a legitimate guy. And he said that we have crashed alien craft with alien bodies. Said it under oath. He said he knew the locations. Then they went into a skiff. The house people and this guy went into one of those secure environments where he revealed to them the location of these alien bodies. And this
was it at a what do they call those things? Those Halloween stores?
It was at a Spirit of Halloween. No, it was at a fireworks stand on the border of North and South Carolina.
Yep. Was Pepe there? Is that guy?
Yes, exactly.
Or something.
Right.
Caricature.
So that all happened. And this guy, then he starts talking, well, how do you know it? He's like, well, I was told it by my supervisor. And then you start to wonder, like, maybe everybody was just fucking with this guy because he's stupid. You know, like maybe because he didn't have any direct knowledge of it. He was like, I heard and I saw him.
Yeah, it was that Bobby Moynihan character from SNL where he's like has the secondhand information and gets it wrong.
So, and that was all I watched. And it was just, I think my big takeaway was like, look, this is one of the weird downsides of electing people like Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and all that. I mean, like, they are horrible. They're racist.
And they're clowns. They're both
they restrict women's rights. They, are racist. All these things, but they also just like they make everything they touch shitty. Like
their main existence at the end of the day is to just waste taxpayers' time and money.
So
draw out the clock. You know what I mean? Make sure nothing gets done.
Right.
No progress gets done. Stifle everything.
If this had been
point of existence,
if they had pulled like 6 Republicans that you had never heard of before, back burner, backbenchers, whatever, like back shelf or whatever Republicans, and I'll bet you it would have been a good hearing. I'll bet you any way it would have turned out, it would have been good, and they might have gotten shit done, but they couldn't because it was run by morons.
What was the point of the hearing?
The point was that the premise, all of them, the Republicans is that the deep state is hiding stuff from us. We need to be transparent. Yeah, I mean, it's like, that all that being aside, like
rolling my eyes.
I know.
It's so dumb. I hate the whole alien thing because it's like, I don't care. Like it fucking out my house. I mean,
I care, like because like I said, I don't think we're ever gonna have like humanoid aliens communicating with us or whatever. But like
boring ass tree stalks from that Amy's. What was her name? That movie Annihilation.
God, that was. I tried to watch that like a half dozen times.
So
I could never.
Boring. I think I watched that on the plane. On a plane, and I was just like, okay, so I don't know. They talking like
so slow.
What was that? What did they do? They talking like it looked like what's that psychologist use it? Rorschach test. That's
yeah. Oh no, you're thinking of Arrival.
Arrival. That's it. What was
Yes.
Annihilation?
Annihilation. Who was in that? It was a famous actress was in it. That was the one where
Oh, when people were
they're
like turning into flowers.
yeah.
I like that one. That was pretty good.
That was dull and slow.
It looked cool though. There was
The
some
one where it was like
stuff.
a gator merged with a shark or something. They just
Right?
found a body of an alligator that had shark teeth. Remember
Yeah,
that?
there was like all kinds
Yeah.
of things getting fucked up, and there was
Yeah.
like it was Natalie Portman.
That was it. Yeah,
Yeah,
Natalie
that was
Portman.
good. No, the other I'm talking about the one with
Arrival.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, anyway, so
more like asleep. Good night.
it sucks because I think it could have been a good hearing.
I don't think it. I think that if there were really aliens or of any kind, guess what? There would be no hearing.
Yeah.
Because, or actually, if the conspiracy can be there are aliens, but what best way to make it not serious is to have the dumbest fucking people in Congress talk about it.
Right.
So that you don't take it seriously and you don't pay attention.
Right.
It kind of works. It kind of works its magic too. If you're trying to hide things, it's good to have a couple of Matt Gateses around.
That's real true.
You know, like it's good to have a couple of that old bird lady around. If you're really
because if he accidentally reveals the truth, it's just fucking Matt Gaetz who's going
it wouldn't matter. You're not going to take it seriously. It's perfect. That's my conspiracy behind it. But I also don't care. I think it's not important. I don't think us finding out if a ship crashed here is going to fix the fact that we have a global warming problem or we have a weight problem or a healthcare problem. Those things, it's kind of just going to be like, oh, cool, pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. That's great.
Right.
Like, how cool. Can I see the ship? They have pictures of it? That's kind of cool. Oh, I'm kind of disappointed. I thought it looked cool in that,
Right.
Like whatever. It's not going to have unless they invade us and annihilate us. It's stupid.
Yeah, I think we're more likely to see like a meteorite or something and there's like some sort of bacteria or organism on it. That'd be disastrous because it would kill us all.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
That's the thing that's probably going to do us in. It's not going to be some big mothership that shoots out a laser. It'll be like some idiot cracked a rock open. It'll be like that Stephen King in what was it, Creep Show?
Yeah.
And the whole town got turned into like a forest. Remember that?
Right.
Like,
that was crazy. He played it. He was in it.
I know. It's like his only acting. It's terrible, but he's great. It's like it's amazing at the same time. He like blows his head off in the end because he's just like a grass monster. I want to talk about
that part.
Oh, here's some funny thing. Okay, there was that lady with the plane who thought she saw a lizard person.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the plane ride home, we had to, like I said, the plane was delayed a couple hours, so we're sitting there waiting. And I was like, all of a sudden I turn my head and I see this guy sitting down, just staring, emotionless. He got a hoodie on. This is in the waiting area, and he was getting on the plane. And he's just like he looks insane. He had these big glasses, the kind that have like that rainbow shimmer that goes across them. And he has his hoodie on. He just looks fucking nuts. Of course, he was probably just sleeping.
The
glasses. And I told my wife, I was like, just turn around and look. And she's like, oh God. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Maybe that lady was right about the lizard person. Like he looked like he could have been the lizard person. I saw him later. He looked normal when he was picking up his bag. Then his eyes blinked sideways. He said, that motherfucker's not real.
He asked for a bag of pretzels and unhinged his jaw.
Yeah, he just ate the bag. He emptied the pretzels and he ate the bag. And he said, blah, 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 blah. Blah. That's how that's an alien language.
I understood.
Yeah. Honestly, if I did the hearing, I think it'd be great if like one of those Congress people the Chud ones, and they were like, I want to speak in the alien language. And he just his whole time up, it's just him going, blah, blah,
That would be
blah.
hilarious.
He's doing Klingon or something. He recited an old Star Trek episode.
Oh God. Yeah.
So when you entered the alternate reality, did you have a goatee that signified that you were
Right.
the evil version of said heroic character on the show?
Right.
Speaking of nonsense, I want to add this real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Robert Kennedy, speaking of fucking weirdos
Yes.
and aliens and waste of time, I guess Robert Kennedy Jr. was in Congress, and
He was.
I don't know why he was there, but he was basically lying and saying that he never told people not to get vaccinated. And he did say he didn't take the COVID vaccine, though. He did say that.
Yeah.
He was. Go ahead. What?
I almost felt bad for him. He just came off as like real old and unhinged. You know,
I don't want to be mean, but his voice does not help him at all. He sounds
he sounds like a Simpsons character.
Yeah,
and he sounds like not. He sounds like a Hans Moleman. So it reminds me.
Hans Moleman.
That's who he reminded me of.
I was saying boo words.
Yeah. He just sounded kind of like old and feeble, and he was like so sad when people would say like,
because the right is like trying so hard to make him look muscular and everything. When you hear him talk, he sounds like he's on his last days.
But like AOC would say, yeah, she'd be like, you said this. He'd be like, I'm like, dude, calm down. He's like,
he's solving any mysteries, smoking any doobies in the back of the mystery machine.
Yeah, I mean, it was real sad. Like, look, he's done a lot of harm. I don't feel bad for him in the sense that like he needs to pipe down because he's hurting people.
He needs to fuck off. I think that this whole like Steve Bannon, Roger Stone trick is just, again, I don't know who this guy's supposed to appeal to, because again, I have not seen one Democrat like him say they would vote like anyone.
Well, did you see Ron DeSantis today in an interview said that he would appoint him as like head of the CDC?
That's just because he's playing into the anti-vaxxers.
Yeah.
That's insane. And it doesn't even make any sense. I thought he was a Democrat. I thought he's your opponent. Why are you promoting one of your serious?
Oh, he said he was going to reach across the aisle.
Reach across the aisle. Yeah, bullshit. More like you're just going to turn sideways,
right,
and grab the guy next to you, which is, I mean, these people are fucking clowns. And I'll tell you, one of the people that was there, and it was disappointing, but I'm not shocked by it. I guess one of his supporter people that were sitting behind him that were backing him is Dennis Kucinich, who I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's sad.
No, I'm not shocked by it, because me and my wife really liked him back in the 2004 election. He was running. He was in Congress, and he was one of the only Congress people to actually be against the Iraq war. Because I remember even watching those debates, the Democratic primary debates, and most of them were really squishy about it. I remember Joe Lieberman was an asshole. He was fully supportive. Yeah. He was sent there to be like a monkey wrench for the Republicans back then. And Dennis Kucinich was like, he was anti-war and he was very progressive at the time.
Yeah.
But, he's kind of a grifter. I remember seeing him. I knew his campaign was going to do well. I remember I remember running into him at a protest, anti-Iraq war protest.
Oh, yeah, okay.
2004. His campaign was already fucking done at this point. And I wanted to talk to him. And then this guy's just like writing him a check for like thousands of dollars. And I'm just like, okay. I'm like, this guy's why are you giving this guy money? His campaign is done, dude. Like, what's this money for?
Yeah.
So he can pay his mortgage? I mean, I don't know. He seemed like annoyed. I was like, I just wanted to say hi to him. And I felt like I was like interrupting a deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like weird. It's like, okay, so you're going to this fucking protest to accept campaign donations to a campaign that's dead. It was dead at that point.
Right.
I think it was like early. It was already like early 2004. I think it was like winter or something like that. I remember going to this. And so, yeah, I don't know. That kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. That was a long time ago. And I remember he ran again in 2008 and he got some traction, but then he said, I forgot, it was, I guess his cousin is a famous actress. It's that one that believes we have like alternate lives or
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Jeez.
He actually, I think he
Shirley
said,
MacLaine.
Yeah, and I guess she believes in like aliens or something.
Yes.
And he said something, and it was like that was it. He was done. It was like, okay, no one's gonna take you seriously.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
I'm not. He's a guy who's on the fringes. He's a bit of a grifter. I'm not shocked that he's palling around with Robert Kennedy. It doesn't shock me.
No, I'm not either.
It's still a disappointment, but whatever. I don't, and actually, I think maybe it's great because it definitely doesn't give Robert Kennedy any fucking legitimacy anymore.
No.
I mean, not like he had any, but
this doesn't help, sure.
Yeah, I was just like watching this, and he's like, "I never said any of that stuff." It's like, dude, we have video.
It's all on video.
That's, I mean, like, it's literally your entire existence.
It's your brand, yeah.
It's like It's like saying breathe air or something.
It's like President Biden's dog swearing that he never nommed on a Secret Service agent's nards. You know,
like, that's how you do a segue, folks.
I think
you want to stop talking about Robert Kennedy. You want to start talking about Biden's dogs. This is how you do it. He just really went at it. He really bit new segment.
I think this, like, on one hand, it is a weird story. Like, you don't need a dog that just like goes around biting people, but I think it's kind of funny because the Secret Service has been such shit lately. You know, like they've been like a really horrible group. You know, there's
some that are like Trump acolytes, right?
They're all, a lot of them are Trump acolytes. A lot of them were like kind of asleep at the switch when this January 6th thing happened. There's this whole thing of like they all like mysteriously erased their text messages and shit. Yep. I mean, like there's like a bunch of shit around this.
And you said the kind of dog that Biden has is the kind that is like protective, right? Of their
it's like trained
or whatever.
I've read a lot of stuff about this where a lot of people are saying like, look, these dogs are very well trained. They're kind of highly attuned, and they're dogs. They see stuff differently than humans, and they probably perceive threats.
Probably just sees them as chicken bones. No, chicken legs, like Kramer's Newman saw Kramer in that one episode.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know.
I like to think that he's trying to what do they call it? Like sift out traitors or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
he's trying to find the scrolls.
He's finding the scrolls.
He's biting off fingers and shit.
Yeah, they start getting gigantic green ears. Then,
well, it's just. I mean, look here. How many stories have you read about the dog biting Biden? Zero. How many stories have you read about the dog biting kids or whatever? Zero. He just bites Secret Service agents. Maybe they're
Secret Service agent has like a white power symbol on it, peeking through it, the cuff of his sleeve, and the dog sees it. The dog understands that. The dog's been listening to different podcasts, studies the Southern Poverty Law Center. He's he's done a lot of research.
Dog follows Right Wing Watch and stuff.
Right Wing Watch. You know, he watches Majority Report.
He goes back to his little kennel, and he has one of those everything's always sunny. He's got like all these little diagrams.
Like
a little sticky.
Or that what's that gif of that lady and like the numbers going?
Kira Sedgwick. Yeah.
I think someone should make the Adventures of Biden's dog if this keeps happening. And it's gonna be like a great movie. Like they had kind of made that years ago. It was like White House Down or whatever.
And,
but it could be with a dog instead, and the dog like misunderstood, and some crazy person that works in the White House can speak dog. And so able to find out the dog's aware of a right-wing coup that's brewing under
the plot twist is that it's Eric Trump that speaks dog.
Well, I don't know why Eric Trump would help him.
He wouldn't. That was be it. He would be like a mole. So
Oh.
anyway.
Hmm.
But it is a weird story.
We'll go through some rewrites on that one. We'll we'll do a little more workshopping on that.
Workshop it.
Yeah, what's the dog's name? Commander?
Commander, I think. There's two of them. There's like Commander and Major. And I think one of them is like not bitten a lot of people.
Oh, he's the lazy one. He's just like,
yeah. Well,
in the end, they fight because you find out Major has been
Major's
working
a scroll.
Major's he's a MAGA check.
Yeah.
Commander walks in and he sees Major watching Steve Crowder and Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro, and he's
listening to Shapiro.
And the other one's like, the dog.
Yeah. Well, I could see this. One of the theories is that Major is that one of the dogs is insane. Like a kennel bred dog, and the other one was a rescue dog that they kind of like retrofitted into being a guard dog.
So who's the rest? Which one's the biter?
The biter's the rescue dog.
Oh no, that makes more sense that he would be more protective because he knows shit. He's been on the street.
Right. He's streetwise.
Yeah, he could sniff this out. He's like, go.
I know how this works. I saw like all 4 seasons of 21 Jump Street, and this is
he's streetwise. He knows what's up.
Yeah.
He knows a coup when it's about to happen.
Right. You think January 6th would have happened if Major was there or Commander or whatever? No, he would have been like biting chuds left and right. all of them would have been in court, like missing a finger or a nard or something. Like,
missing a ball. They're still missing a testicle. or a finger. Yeah, one or the other.
Right. When they like release the name and the prison aliases, they're all like one nut or something.
Yeah,
like
that fucking guy with the one eye would definitely be missing a nut too.
Yeah. Right.
Stuart Road or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Stuart Rhodes, right.
Yeah.
So
Keon Shaman, he would have bit right in the throat.
Probably would have bit and then like tried to rub it off with his paw, like the taste off of him.
Yeah, ew.
Dude literally reeks of patchouli and sweat.
Yeah, what the fuck is this thing? Gross sweat.
All right, so we got one last topic. We have
this is so dumb.
Elon Musk rebranding Twitter as X.
About damn time.
Right.
The thing I usually like to do is I like to buy something for an exorbitant amount of money, way more money in the world, and then just change the entire brand. I'm like, it's like someone who buys a house and they're like, I'm gonna knock down the kitchen and I'll just knock down the entire house actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess there are people that do that, but like and Elon Musk does have a ton of money, but
there's a couple of theories about it.
Okay.
The X thing. One is to just generate buzz or whatever.
Yeah.
But to get away with not having to honor things, like, oh, this is a new company. Twitter doesn't exist anymore. We're X.
Right.
You could probably fire more people, get rid of other people. Who knows? I'm sure there's some legal shenanigans and loopholes that are now if you go by a different name. And the other theory is that, there's 2 other theories. The other theory is that he, if he changes his name to X, that if X fails, Twitter would still be, it will not affect Twitter as a brand, because that was X. X was the failure.
I could see that because
So you're like doing this like little sneaky thing, but you're also protecting the brand in some way, especially if you're going to try to do dumb shit like get people to bank with your app. The other theory is that Elon Musk is a fucking idiot, and it's probably like all 3.
Here's the weird thing. Linda Yaccarino,
is that his Patsy CEO?
Yes, right. So she tweeted out the other day, X is the future state of unlimited interactivity, centered in audio, video, messaging, payments, banking, creating a global marketplace for ideas, goods, services, and opportunities. Powered by AI, X will connect us all in ways we're just beginning to imagine. That
Powered by AI. What?
that sound, what she's describing sounds like the internet. That's the internet.
Yeah.
That's what the internet is. It is a global marketplace for ideas, goods. X isn't the internet. X is on the internet. And secondly, who the fuck trusts Elon Musk with it? You want your
I
power?
would not bank with X. No.
That is bananas. You're gonna bank with X. Elon Musk gets butthurt and just doxes people. You know, I mean, like,
it's such a shit show. It is such a like like low budget trash show now. Like I saw some tweet. It was like a Tucker Carlson tweet. I posted. I don't know if you saw it, and I was laughing because like in the middle of now there's ads all the time, and I don't think they're not targeted ads. They're just random ads.
A lot of them are random.
I see ads for like people selling like shitty toys and just like random shit. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, we you like this, so we posted. I saw an ad, and one of them was literally for what was it?
It was OnlyFans, yeah.
And I was like laughing my ass off. I'm like, this is so funny. This like really porn ad on a Tucker Carlson tweet. I think it's great. I think it's fitting. I think it's like it's so fun. I love that too. They're trying to like push like how Tucker Carlson has all these views. No one watches.
No. Well, I'll tell you, Twitter in so many ways, like you said, is just breaking. Like so often now, I'll look for something and it will say the tweet doesn't exist, and then it will exist. I search for people, like searching for anything on Twitter now is just a wasted. It's a waste of time. I search for things on Twitter by going to Google, putting in whatever I want to look for, and then adding the word Twitter. And then that's how I find stuff on Twitter. I mean, seriously, the search feature is broken. Everything about it's just like garbage. I don't know, man. I don't know what's
like the other day. I saw this bullshit of like certain accounts saying that Elon Musk paid them like $30,000. And it was just like, oh, they got paid for using Twitter Blue. Like, all my tweets I made $30,000 last month for thank you, Elon Musk. And I'm like, that's all bullshit. And then Elon Musk puts out this bullshit thing like, oh, if you join Twitter Blue and pay each month, you have a chance of making money. Look at this account. Look at this account. And it's like, it's all scams. Like
it is. It's
you're not getting paid shit. That's some like, what do they call that? Market.
They call that Running Man.
No, it's a pyramid scheme.
Illyrium or whatever.
No, but what's it called? That
it's like
marketing.
Multi-level marketing. Yeah.
Pyramid scheme.
That's it. But it's also like, 5 lucky winners. But like, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of a nonsense thing. The big problem though is that he is putting his thumb on the scales and tilting everything far right. And I don't know.
I got a bank with a company
you gotta be kidding me.
Lets Nazi accounts flourish. It was an account that was posting straight up Nazi memes. I was like, I'll report, see what happens. Came back and said we didn't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
You didn't see anything wrong with it? It's literally a Nazi account. It's all the tweets. It's literally all about like saying something horrible about Jewish people, saying something horrible about like.
Yeah, you're better off, honestly, like reporting that to some German official, saying, hey, there's Twitter's flooding Germany with Nazi propaganda. That's against the law there, right? You know what I mean? That's, I don't know. It is just such a weird thing. Like X, I'm gonna call it X. It has such a 90s.
Like, isn't it supposed to, like, the icon's supposed to change?
Yeah, on my phone, I still have.
Changed.
Yep, me too.
Well, then you sent me a tweet the other early today, and in the text, the tweet, the icon was X.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah, my brother sent me a tweet the other day, and I noticed that too. But it's hit or miss. Like I'm looking at some of them now, and they still have the blue bird, and others have the X. I don't know. I don't know what the I think all of this isn't really anything intentional. I think it's just the rollout's wonky because they don't have enough engineers that know what they're doing.
They all went to Threads.
Well, I mean, they all went somewhere.
Threads is all right. I mean, it's like whatever.
Threads is fine.
I
like
still
Blue
think
Sky.
Twitter's. I still think. I don't know. I've had tweets on Twitter that have blown up. I haven't had it.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's definitely better than. It's definitely more interactions with Blue Sky.
I like Blue Sky, but
Okay,
yeah, it's real hard to. There's very few people on there. Everybody on
A
there is
lot of
kind of just
scam
doing their own
accounts on
thing.
Blue Sky too. I see a lot of like crypto crap. They need to
Yeah.
like do a better job of that shit. I mean, I think they would need to hire so many people at these things to like.
True.
I guess Twitter had a ton of these people. You know,
Not
Musk is
anymore.
like,
Yeah.
why do we have these people here? Oh, why am I paying you? This is ridiculous. I'm gonna fire 70% of the company. It's like, yeah, now your app looks like a fucking the Busy Bee Mall, or I mean, it looks like a fucking flea market. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
it does. Yeah.
random ads? Like that's the worst too. Ads should not be within a Twitter feed. Like, I mean,
Right.
if someone posts something and there's comments, there should not be ads in the comments. That is just it makes it tacky.
It's frustrating. Nothing about Twitter works the way it should. You know, it emphasizes these idiot $8 accounts. I never get. I'm still on Twitter plenty because like it does have some use to it, but it's rough.
I don't get the X thing. I mean, like I get it if those reasons are exactly just like HBO Max is. It's like I don't have to honor these contracts. We're a different app. We're different. This isn't Twitter, but it's just weird. I mean, I think the average person would just be like, why would you spend $44 billion on this app? And then also they'd be like, well, Twitter, and it's like, oh no, we're X now, and they'd be like, what? I'm just gonna go do something else.
Yeah.
What the fuck is X? X is everything.
Honey, I swear it's Twitter.
What?
Honey, I swear it's Twitter.
Nah.
Why are you paying $8 a month to X?
Yeah, is that porn? Are you buying? Did you sign up to a porn account?
Yeah. So.
What's this X thing? And again, brought up in the beginning of the podcast. This is again one of his shitty ideas. He's supposed to be this amazing genius. This is one of the shitty ideas that I guess he tried pushing years ago. Supposedly he wanted to call PayPal X or something like that. Like,
it's got a real 90s feel to it, you know.
PayPal would not do well if it was called X. Hey, can you X me some money? What?
Yeah.
Sounds negative. X, like, is, you know, if you talk about the X-Men, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's like it has like a negative, it has like almost like a negative connotation.
It does, yeah. Well, whatever. We'll see where it goes.
Stupid. Yeah. I feel like the story change next week will be something else. He won't even call it X. It'll be like,
yeah,
actually, you know, it's like
X was the, you know, the brand division. I'm really calling it, you know, Twitter X.
What? The Twitterverse?
Yeah, something like that.
I just think it's funny they have this delusion that people would want to do loans and bank. I'm sure there's gonna be some idiots that'll do it, but
great. I could see Twitter, the old Twitter, working really well doing those micro loans. Do you remember when those were real big? Like you would loan $25 to a woman in Ghana and she would use it to I mean, like, and then she would pay you back and you'd feel good about helping. I mean, like, look,
but Twitter had I think Cash App was Jack Dorsey's thing. He didn't. He's made a new app. He didn't take Twitter and turn it into finance thing. He was like, why would I do that? That's not what the brand is. He supposedly worked. I don't know if Cash App's his or if he's like.
I think you might be right.
But that was it. There was a Twitter app that had to do with money and exchange.
Yeah.
It was Cash App, and it was a separate. And any person who got it would probably not even realize that it had any connection to Twitter at all. Because I would imagine a person who goes on Twitter would be like, why the fuck would I want to?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather go bank with my Street Fighter video game from PlayStation 4.
Seriously. I would. I'd rather.
It's the same thing. Like, how is this legitimate to be a bank?
And where will you be depositing these funds? The First National Bank of Dig Dug.
Dig Dug? Yeah, he does. He'll dig down the money for you.
Right.
He
So
blows up. He pumps up the snakes that try to take your money.
yeah. So anyway.
Pops them. Yeah, I want to go on. I want to put my money on a thing where like Marjorie Green tweets like this.
Unreal.
So stupid.
So
I don't like. Why would you? And then like, okay, we'll wrap this up right now. But
Yeah.
like, if you always wanted to call it X, then why the fuck did you buy Twitter to begin with? Why didn't you just make an app called X?
you could have hired a few engineers.
Yeah, you have
he didn't want to. He I think more so wanted to take Twitter away from some people than he wanted to own Twitter.
Yeah.
So,
he wanted to destroy information. He
Yep.
didn't want people making fun of him. He didn't want
Right.
And also it's it's a media outlet, and he bought it. Another billionaire bought a media outlet. That's really what happened here.
Yeah. Oh well.
So it's another information source that's owned by a billionaire. I mean, it was technically owned by billionaires already. Jack Dorsey was, but it wasn't developed by billionaires.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's.
Well, I hope a lot of fucking idiots put their money in it and lose every penny.
Yeah. That would be hilarious.
I can't wait to see the tweets that say, "We must trust Elon. He would never do us wrong."
I put all my ape coin in X. Where is it?
They said they would be juiced or what was it? One
slurped juice ape equals. Yeah.
What's the slurp ratio on how much money I have to put in to increase my slurp ape juice is?
That's that.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Let's see if X is still around. See if any aliens visited.
Right.
I kind of wish the debates were like tomorrow. We have to wait a month.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But I like I said, it would not shock me if Trump tries to do some bullshit to get out of it,
I
try
agree.
to make money off of it, because he'll say, "I'm the star of the show.
Yep.
Why do I have to do it? I'm leading. Why do I need to? If I'm going to debate them, then Biden has to debate Robert Kennedy." I can totally see him saying that.
Yeah.
Because I'm polling really high. Why do I have to debate Bob Scott and Bilbo Baggins? And, like you just get, and what's that lady's name? The former governor of South Carolina,
Nikki Haley.
Yeah, Nikki Haley.
Oh wow.
Yeah, whatever. I don't have to debate Halsey.
Yeah, right.
That singer or whatever.
Yeah.
What, I didn't know she was.
I demand Biden debate Lizzo.
Yeah, but I think if that's the case, then I want to debate Major. That'd be great. Major could kill him.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You attack him. It's like, my plan worked.
All right.
Watch out, Secret Invasion. Major TV show would be so much better.
That would be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.